All right, 6:02 in the Rose City. Time for Dirt and Sprague on Portland Sports Leader 105.1 The Fan and the Fan Sports Network.
24 Reno. Blue Poncho. Rambo. 59. Monday.
Red right, 24 double Kumar.
Here we go.
Happy Football Friday, everybody. Good morning.
What is happening?
How you doing, you sexy beast?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. I got my lightning yellow shorts on. I'm
I
ready to
see
go
that.
today, baby.
Yeah, you are.
Just in case they need an assistant coach to run out of the tunnel on Saturday. I'm ready to go. Coach, I'm ready. I'll call some coverages. Let's do this thing.
Now, we didn't talk about this story, but I want to ask you in something related to what you just said there, because it's our first real football Friday,
This is
right?
an actual football Friday.
We've jokingly talked about it last week. I'm sure you brought it up while I was out. The week before that, we've joked about it.
Yeah, this is the real deal.
Yes.
This is no longer a drill. It is a football Friday.
I will be up at 6 a.m. I'm going to watch the entire game day.
Ooh, are you going to watch the whole thing live, huh?
I might not have been the biggest game day guy the last few years.
Sure, I don't blame you.
Lee Corso helped grow my love for college football. So I owe it to Lee Corso to wake up, watch the start, see the show. One story we never got to, and you just reminded me of it, was Oklahoma is currently selling post-game press conference availability to fans.
Wait, what?
Wait, what?
If you spend I think it's like $680. I hope I have that number right.
Okay.
Oklahoma will give you a post-game credential, and you can literally sit and watch post-game press conferences.
Are you allowed to ask questions?
No.
Oh.
You're just allowed the access of being where the media is.
Who would pay to do that?
They've actually sold passes.
I mean, I'm not surprised by that. You're going to buy one of those passes and realize, oh, that was it? Yeah. And then not do it again. Now, if you could ask questions, this is one of the funniest things that could happen in all of sports.
But you only get one? Would it
I'm
be worth
okay
it?
with that. I'm okay with that.
You get one.
But just for the times that your organization, whether it's pro, college, whoever you root for, hit the side of a mountain and you're fed up as a fan. How many Cowboy fans today, if you gave them that ability, would want to buy this for the next Jerry Jones press conference?
Well, how quick would they cancel this at Oklahoma if they lost? And the question was, you should be on the hot seat, right, Brent?
Right. Are we going to fire your ass? Are you feeling confident right now, Brent? Because you just lost to Michigan at home in week 2.
When I used to screen calls for the Seattle sports radio show I interned for.
I mean, Oklahoma State was in a dogfight last night until the fourth quarter. They were in a bit of a dogfight last night at home.
So was Rutgers. Rutgers should have lost.
There was a lot of uncomfortable dogfights in night one.
Nebraska.
Those fans want to ask those questions. What are you doing? Not calling timeout.
We used to have to triple check screen calls when I was interning in Seattle. Like, hey, what are you calling for? And they would say, well, this, and this. And you'd write it down, right? Then you'd have to put them on hold. Then you'd have to get them back on and be like, hey, man, our system just crashed. What were you calling for? And if they couldn't,
tell
give
you
the same thing,
right.
We're supposed to cut them because
the
they
same
don't
spiel
want
twice.
Yeah, they didn't want somebody coming on and you suck. I hate your show.
on the screening call, they're going to say all the right things. Well, I would just like to talk about the Seahawks and their offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
All right, fine, we'll put you on. And then by the time you're on the air, you're giving some hot takes on things that are not including the Seattle Seahawks.
So as somebody who's currently dressed as if you are on the support staff of the University of Oregon today.
They should wear yellow pants like this for a game. That would be delightful.
Would you pay to be able to run out of the tunnel behind the players in motorcycle?
How much is it going to cost me?
Let's put the Oklahoma...
$1,000.
Okay, yeah, there we go. $1,000.
Do I get to pick the game?
Yeah, but it comes at a premium. So if you choose the biggest
bigger
home game,
it's going to cost me more.
Who's the biggest home game?
USC?
USC. Let's call it USC.
Currently ranked probably Indiana,
but USC's bigger for people than Indiana.
Yes.
Let's call it USC. You got to pay $1,500 is the premium price. Baseline price for Montana State tomorrow would be $780.
$780. That's an expensive tunnel run out for Montana State.
You're in the tunnel. You're coming out behind the motorcycle.
Would I pay to do that?
Do you think fans would pay to do this?
Fans would, without a doubt. Fans would pay to do that.
Especially the ones that are... That's chump change to some of the big booster fans.
I don't know if I would. Now, this is going to be very hoity-toity of me, but
Well, you already have access to the
I'm
field
already on the
pregame,
field.
yeah.
I literally, whenever I'm there for a game, you stand right by you got to get your video of the duck. You got to have your duck video ready to go.
No, see, they would
So
pay
I'm right
more I think to run out of the tunnel on a road game, like if you wanted, I don't know what the price would be for when they go to Penn State in the whiteout.
I would be more willing to pay for.
But you have to cover your travel.
You got to go there. Like you're already going.
Yeah.
Like
That's
for
expensive.
fans that are already going, and they said, for an extra $5,000, you want to
Run
bring
out
the
of the
flag out
tunnel.
of the tunnel with us?
In a whiteout at Penn
Yeah.
State, crotch chop in the crowd. I would totally be that guy.
Now, how much would somebody pay to drive the motorcycle with the duck behind you?
You could fund the athletic department.
You're getting
if you let like a different person do that every game and charge. I mean, you could. I mean, $10,000 probably is the starting
you could
point,
get
if not more than that.
$50,000 depending
Dude,
on the game.
People got a lot of FU
And then
money.
they crash.
Yeah, run into a cheerleader
Have
on the
you ever
10-yard
driven
line.
one of these?
Dude,
No, I haven't.
Killed a cheerleader, man. That didn't end up well. That escalated quickly.
Like I could see
We
tomorrow
scrapped that program after one game.
Oregon State with a night game, so you have all day to tailgate.
You guys got cool light shows too, where the lights go on and
home
off.
opener,
like,
the
yeah, man.
chainsaw revving. You've
Vibes are
got
gonna be high.
Callentown. Like I could see Beaver fan paying a decent price to come out of the tunnel.
Somebody said they do actually auction the ability to run out of the tunnel at Autzen.
There you go.
So I didn't know
I
they
didn't
actually
know
did it. I don't really pay attention to the randoms who are running out, but maybe I need to.
I was just using the Oklahoma model. I had no idea it was real. I'm glad they're doing that.
To pay to go to a press conference, there's fans who probably want to see how the sausage is made, but I feel like that's the perfect analogy of like once you get in there, you're like,
It's so overrated.
You're just sitting there. You wait around. The coach comes in. If it's after a loss, nobody wants to be in there because the coach is pissed off. He doesn't want to answer questions. And it doesn't really last that long. And then it's over. The coach walks out and you're like, okay, that was like 15 minutes. That's a lot of money to spend to sit there to watch something that you could literally watch on YouTube. Every team streams that live on YouTube or posts the video. The second it's over and you're spending nearly $1,000 to see that, that's a waste of money.
You get to watch the reporters awkwardly want to ask the first question and kind of fight over it, but ultimately give in to the oldest scribe on the beat because they somehow earned it by being there the longest. That usually happens.
I've been here 45 years, man.
I have two famous post-game moments of my life.
Oh, what do you got?
Of being somebody that's been in a post-game of a football game at least, because I've been to many Blazer post-games.
Sure. The Blazer stuff's usually the same way. There's not a lot going on there.
No, there's two pieces to the Blazers. There's the coach, and they go down to the podium, and then in the locker room.
Yeah.
The locker room's way cooler than
the locker room stuff people would pay for.
Yeah.
Because then you walk around
just
in the
to
locker
see the locker room.
Yeah.
There'd be people in there trying to see naked men.
I think there would
Yes,
be.
there would be.
Good point from a listener, too, by the way, that I forgot about this. USC did this last year. Remember when they played Penn State? And Penn State fans bought it.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I
so they
remember
sold
that.
the right to
Yeah.
no, not the press conference. They sold the you can run out of the tunnel with the team. And two Penn State guys bought it and ran out with the USC team in all blue. Like, it's a little dangerous, man.
Yeah, you really have to do your background checks on these people.
I need to check your Twitter profile. What have you been tweeting about?
My two football post-game moments. Met Jason Swigart at an Oregon State post-game press conference. I don't think he remembers this moment at all.
Did you introduce yourself to Jason Swigart?
Clearly,
Paul Bucher introduced me to Jason Swigart.
Oh, okay.
And he said, hey, this is Brandon. He does local media here at the school. And he knew me a little bit. I knew Bucher. He was really nice to me. And he introduced me to Swag for an internship, and Swag never responded to an email.
Come on, Swigart.
He said, just email me. I'll get you in. Never responded. Cool.
Sorry.
Swagalicious.
Well, clearly your talent won out.
That's right. He just wanted to make you go the extra mile. He thought that email is a good start, but let's see if you take it over the finish line.
Little did you know by not responding to my college email that I had grown a plot to ruin your life and make you wake up at 4 a.m. with me every day.
You never saw that one coming,
Never
didn't you?
saw it coming.
That was the long-term plan. I'm going to host a show. He's going to wake up at 4, never sleep
You
again.
plot to deplete the Hops bullpen to the point
Yes.
where
That was
I
also part of the plan. Yes, it was.
You're going to be there at the ballpark till midnight.
439 pitches last night.
We'll cancel the season.
17 walks, 3 hits, batsman.
Bullet in my brain getting
Yeah.
a text message
Yes.
from you at almost midnight.
Like, get me out of here.
That was one of my plots. The other one was I almost got into a fight in a post-game press conference at an Oregon State football game.
With another Oregon
I was
State
not
media
there
member?
for that game.
Have
I would have
heard this
remembered
story?
that.
I think I've shared it.
Oh.
There was a guy in Eugene. I think he has since moved up here. I don't even know if he does media anymore. Tom Ward.
I remember
I know Tom.
Tom Ward, yeah.
Tom's a pretty easygoing guy.
Says the guy who sees him once a year and says, hey, Tom, and then walks away.
Tom Ward. I remember
So when
Tom
I was
Ward.
working for Comcast, we had to set up our tripods in the media room. I always got to games early when I did this. And so I set my tripod up, and I was right next to another guy that I knew really well working for the same Eugene TV station. Like, we saw each other at practice all the time.
Sure.
Totally cool.
He was always around.
When we got to the post game, I got in there and I was setting my camera up.
Yeah,
right?
you got to
The
get your
zoom's
tripod.
on.
You got to get ready to go.
Well,
Positioning.
the tripod is up. The territory has been established.
This is my area.
The Eugene TV station had a bigger tripod, bigger camera because it's TV.
Right.
I'm trying to set up the focus, and really, like, maybe a foot next to me is the Eugene one. Well, Tom didn't like how close I was.
You're in their territory.
So he kind of like starts doing a box out on me.
Ooh, kind of
And I was
rubbing
like-
his butt against you.
And I was young. I was passive. I'm like, okay, just let him do his thing.
We're doing the cha-cha slide
And he
here, Tom?
literally turns around and he just starts moving my tripod.
Ooh.
And I say, excuse me.
Hello.
I set this up before you got here, bud.
Hello.
And he turned to me and he like legitimately grabbed my arm and my tripod and like wanted to fight me.
Yeah,
I will never forget that
Tom's
moment.
listening because he's got my cell phone number.
If he is, like, I got no hard feelings now.
That was a long time ago. But
I just
yeah.
remember that moment vividly of like, I'm about to get in a fight with an older guy at a press conference. What's happening here?
You probably would have taken him. I would have taken you in that bet.
No, Tom Ward probably would have whipped my ass.
Tom,
You think so?
Yeah, I was kind of
Tom stayed in good shape.
out of shape.
You
Tom
had a little
was-
more girth to you, you're packing a punch back in the
I
day.
probably would have given the edge to Tom. Would have been the minus money. I'd have
Okay.
been plus money in the fight.
All right.
But also, I was really petty. I would have fought.
You would have fought and you would have been aggressive there.
The funny thing was, I didn't know. Like, I walked away. I thought about that all day, and I'm like, was I in the wrong there?
Did he like buy that area? Is there some like
No.
unwritten rule that I'm aware of that the Eugene station or whatever has to be right here?
No.
Yeah.
They're like the least important market to be covering Oregon State, Eugene.
It's usually a free for all.
Who's in Eugene? What university?
I believe that would be the University of Oregon. Bob.
Okay. I knew I was in the right because his coworker, who stood there and just watched me kind of get pushed around and did nothing,
Like, what is happening right
came
now?
up to me the next practice and was like, I'm really sorry about that, dude. He was having a day. And I'm like, yeah, it's okay, whatever.
We've all been there. You're not mad at me. You're mad at your dad.
That's
There's
kinda what
something
it
else
was.
going on.
Yeah.
It's clearly
Yeah.
this is the bubbling over moment in your life where you're taking it out on a young media member.
Now, again, used to be very petty and held on to a lot. I didn't forgive or forget his name for a very long time. I'm bringing the story up now because it's more funny, but I've since moved on.
Did you cross his name off the list while you're putting lipstick on, laying on your couch, listening to music?
I
Tom
saw him
Ward. Glad
at
I
a
called that guy.
Blazer game in 2014, because I was with the fan at that point.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing him, and I remember just sitting there seething with the fire of 1,000
I
suns.
walked up to him, hey, remember me? And his response, no, I don't.
No, he for sure wouldn't have. There's no way he would have. And then after that moment, I went home, and I remember just being like, dumb moment.
Let it go.
Let it go.
That was a long time ago.
No big deal.
I wanted my positioning. That company ended up firing me anyway. So, who cares if I didn't get a good shot for that game? It didn't matter.
First of all,
They let me go.
they didn't fire me.
That's
We did not renew the
They
contract.
just did not renew your deal.
Yeah.
You were not attractive enough to them.
I did not have. I wasn't very smart.
No, you were not smart
If you
enough.
know what I mean.
To work for that company.
They needed
need
somebody much smarter
much
than me.
Smarter than you to
Yeah.
cover Oregon State football.
Oh, it's a football Friday.
God, it feels good, doesn't it?
And we got some football news yesterday. We didn't just have
Oh
games.
my Lord, did we get football
That was the
news.
funniest thing of yesterday was that watching the halftime shows who are all college commentators
Yep.
then have to talk about that all halftime because it's a pretty big story. And then at 2:30, ESPN's in live football coverage.
Exactly.
And so they don't have their wall-to-wall
They got
breakdown that
They got
would have.
they have their U.S. Open tennis coverage going on. Like I didn't.
They were interrupting that for this news.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to. That's
I
pretty
think they
big deal.
went to. Well, they had ESPN News. I think there was something on ESPN News that they were actually the sustained.
Well, I want to get into it because
Coverage
we've
of it.
got a guest at 6:30 today. We booked it before this news broke. The funniest thing was yesterday I got on social media just to check the timeline. Hey, did I see anything? I see a clip of Nick Costos, our good friend from You Better You Bet. No way. 0.0% chance they're trading him. And maybe 10 minutes later, Swag texts me. Parsons traded. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I was doing some stuff around the house while the kid was napping,
Oh.
and then I looked down at my phone, and I'm like, wait, what? Because I was not on social media when that took place, and I was, whoa, okay, I'm going to go ahead and sit down here for a couple minutes and digest this news.
So we'll start there. We will get to the football that happened yesterday.
Yeah, there was football that happened yesterday.
My team's not good enough to be in a power conference, huh?
You guys aren't better than Wisconsin, okay? Did anybody see the interception that Minnesota threw?
Yeah, I did.
Did you see that one?
I did.
With
yeah.
the running back on the ground that then kicks the ball up
Yep.
into the air and nearly becomes a pick six against, was it Buffalo?
Don't we know Minnesota's going to be 7-5 or 8-4?
Same
They're just
team.
gonna
Every year.
They're gonna chug their way to the 7-5
I don't know
season.
how we're going to survive the gauntlet of the Big Ten
Has
this
that
year.
Ducks over-under gotten back to 10 wins?
I would say it should be at 11.5 after watching last night. They play Rutgers, who damn near lost to Ohio.
Minnesota's coming to
Minnesota's coming to Eugene. Nobody's scared about
Wisconsin's
that.
coming to Eugene.
Wisconsin has the former
so
San
bad.
Diego State
All right.
quarterback,
Let's
Danny
hold it,
O'Neill.
Hold it. We'll get to it. We'll
God,
get to
they
it.
suck.
Football Friday, we start with the Parsons trade next on The Fan. And you and every other Cowboy fan. Dallas traded Micah Parsons yesterday for 2 first-round picks and defensive tackle Kenny Clark. Green Bay is the one that traded for him and then returned that favor by giving him a 4-year, $188 million deal.
Woo, love that money.
That's the highest paid non-quarterback NFL history.
Yes.
2-time All-Pro, Micah Parsons. And for a situation, I'll raise my hand. I thought Jared would just pay him at the last second, and he just wanted the attention.
Yeah.
No, he truly got pissed off and did not like him. In fact, called him Michael multiple times yesterday in his press conference.
I think that was done on purpose. I think he's just an old idiot.
No, I agree, but I think it speaks to the situation in general that he doesn't know his name.
Yes, it does.
And now Micah Parsons is a Green Bay Packer.
Heading to Wisconsin, man. It's funny how organizations are just known for things like Green Bay. It is grabbing quarterbacks before you necessarily need the next quarterback and having a, plan in place from one to the next. And then when there's a disgruntled star on the defensive side of the ball, you go make that move, whether it's Reggie White, whether it's Charles Woodson, whether it's Micah Parsons. It's just funny how, all these things kind of come together historically when you look back at what the teams have done. For Green Bay, if you're a Packer fan yesterday, man, just over the moon. A team that feels like you're knocking on the door. Last season didn't end the way you wanted it to. Your quarterback dealt with injuries, but you have him under contract at a pretty affordable rate. Mm-hmm. You're close. Philly's there ahead of you, though. Detroit's there ahead of you. How do you take that next step? Well, let's just go get maybe the best defensive player in the entire National Football League. F them picks when you're in the position that they're in, and now they're considered one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl probably over the next 3 to 5 years, every single year.
I was a little surprised. I don't know what it says this morning, but when I had heard the news that he'd been traded, the futures updated, and Green Bay was only 13-1. So It moved. It didn't move as much as I thought it would, but to your point.
How much of that, too, has to do with just the thought of Philly being, after what we saw? That's a curious thing for me.
ESPN Analytics, best chances to win. Green Bay's not even number one in their own division.
Still putting Detroit ahead of them.
Detroit is still ahead of them. Now, I slam dunk move. I'm a Packer fan. I am through the roof on this one, man. I couldn't believe they did it. Here's Jerry Jones, who was talking about Micah Parsons, but you wouldn't know it from the press conference.
The other thing that I would like to say is I firmly made a commitment to Michael this spring, Micah, and paid him, and to pay him.
Well, you didn't, though, and you didn't come into an agreement, and then you blamed him for not agreeing to the backroom handshake deal instead of dealing with his agent, who you clearly hate. Here is Jerry Jones on why. Why did you need to trade maybe the best edge rusher in football?
We need to stop the run. We haven't been able to stop the run at key times for several years. When you have the kind of extraordinary pass rush that Michael had, then the way to mitigate that pass rush is to run at you. If the pass rush doesn't get you ahead pretty big time and you're playing even or behind, then you've really got a problem in stopping the run.
Okay, so he
can't
says,
stop the run, man. Micah Parsons can't stop the run.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff you can find out there on this stuff. Bill Barnwell broke it down, and I want to read this blurb from Bill Barnwell of ESPN. Over the past 4 years, the Cowboys were the league's best defense with Parsons on the field by EPA per play. Across 1,039 snaps, those same Cowboys immediately became the league's worst defense by the same metric when Parsons was on the sidelines or inactive.
Wait, what? You mean a good defensive player makes you better defensively?
Breaking news.
What? And then trying to brag about getting Kenny Clark, who has regressed the last 2 years, getting older and more expensive as he ages.
The good news for them is at least Green Bay seems to be picking up most of the cap space of Kenny Clark. I do think this is an interesting point by Barnwell. Salary cap distribution amongst 3 players in the NFL. And he says he can't find a team that had its top 3 players' average salaries amount to more than 50% of the cap. The closest might be the 2022 Rams with Donald, Cup, and Stafford.
Sure.
They combined to make 48.5% of the cap. All 3 got hurt. Rams went 5-12. The 21 Chiefs had 47% of their cap to 3 players, lost in the AFC title game, and then traded Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
And then they followed that up with Mahomes, Jones, and Clark being their top 3. The 2022 Packers had 46.5% of their cap to 3 players. They went 8-9 and then traded away Aaron Rodgers.
Right. I mean, you were looking at what, $130 million a year if you give him the extension, $42 million with CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, and Micah Parsons. It's just funny, man. The part of me, there is a small part of me internally that wants to say I don't hate necessarily the move for Dallas on the surface level. The problem with that is the reason I don't hate it is because of how bad you've screwed everything else up. That it led to a point where this is a trade that actually kind of makes sense for them because of exactly what you're highlighting. The other part of it is if you're just like thinking ahead and smart and you actually have a plan in place about where you want your organization to go, you don't trade him the week the NFL kicks off. You trade him heading into the NFL draft. Like, there's a theory out there. I don't have to agree with it, but you can at least make an argument of like, hey, trading a Luka, trading a Micah Parsons. Okay, explain why you did it. Okay, he doesn't play defense, or this, we got too much cap space, whatever. Okay, I can understand the theory. It's the way that the teams went about doing it, waiting until the last second, not opening this up the week of the NFL draft, not finding if there's other teams out there that are willing to give up more, and just kind of making this hasty decision because you've screwed up the negotiations so poorly, not just with him, but with your other players to the point where the salary cap problem is real, and they didn't pay Dak when they should have, and it cost them more money. Didn't pay CeeDee Lamb probably when they should have, cost them more money, and they delayed on the Micah Parsons thing. Like, there are ways that you could have gone about mitigating all of that, but you put yourself in a spot where you've been so incompetent that this is actually a move that kind of makes sense long term for me.
I think as Barnwell found out a couple weeks ago, the Cowboys have cost themselves $100 million in negotiations by waiting to pay certain guys. I find interesting, and I thought this was a good point by Arando on social media, is Dallas not the weirdest sports city in America right now?
They just traded away two 26-year-olds, the faces of the sports city.
In the prime of their careers.
Prime of their careers. And then
got the number one
Paige
picks.
Beckers
yes.
and
Cooper Cup.
And Cooper Flag.
Cooper Flag, yeah,
yes.
Cup. I got NFL on the brain.
So watch Dallas have a bad year. Dak gets hurt. They get the number one overall pick and land like Arch Manning, and then they trade Dak Prescott. Then Jerry Jones rides off into the sunset.
I mean, is there a scenario? We're going to get to Randy McMichael here in Atlanta. We're supposed to do a Georgia preview, but he also played in the NFL for 11 years.
Yeah.
I want to know how this... Because I think you and I and Swag and everybody else that didn't play, I think we project so much into a locker room, and I don't know how right we really are.
Yeah, it's very fair.
Like, these guys are businesses, their own entities.
Yeah,
they got
understand.
their own monies. They know Micah Parsons is a great player. They publicly will say, it's a shame. Does it really impact locker room stuff? Does it impact business in a grand scale? We always say that, and I just don't know how true it really is. So I want to ask a Randy McMichael coming up here. I just look at this move and I'm like, I don't know how you say this is about competing.
It's not about competing. If they were being honest, they should tear the entire thing down.
Well, are they setting that up?
They should. I don't know if they will because Jerry's 82, but if the smart move would be to kind of hit the total reset button. Like, that's the part of it if I'm a Cowboy fan. If they had signed him to, let's say, $43 million a year a month ago, and that was he broke the record, but not quite as breaking as it ended up being in Green Bay. Is anybody picking Dallas to win the Super Bowl?
Well, no, and I think that's kind of some of the reasoning or logic behind supporting the move is like he wasn't a Super Bowl changing player for us this year.
You're paying Dak Prescott $50-something million a year, like,
yeah.
Hit the reset button. It's not the worst thing.
We had a listener beg us to go to Dallas today. I'm just going to tell you we're not, and I'll tell you why at 6:45. I listened to some Dallas radio yesterday and this morning. And so I'll tell you why we're not going to go to Dallas today. But coming up next, we had booked an interview with Randy McMichael, former NFL tight end, and
Georgia Bulldog.
Georgia Bulldogs. Who's number one in the Dirty Poll?
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Georgia Bulldogs. Randy McMichael from 92.9 The Game in Atlanta will join us next. But first, Swag with the Sports Update.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, the tremors and aftershock still being felt around the NFL after the Cowboys' inability to get a contract extension done with Pro Bowl pass rusher Micah Parsons. Ended up in him being traded to the Packers for defensive tackle Kenny Clark and 2 future first-round draft picks. Parsons then agreeing to a 4-year, $180 million extension with Green Bay, $136 million in total guaranteed money. Boise State's road back to the college football playoff looking much more rough after opening the season with a 34-7 loss to South Florida. The Broncos lost 3 fumbles in that game. Action continues tonight on 910 ESPN Portland. Georgia Tech visits Colorado, 5 o'clock kick, pregame coverage at 4:30. Yellow Jackets, 4.5-point favorites. Ducks open up the season 28-point favorites over Montana State. Kickoff 1 p.m. right here tomorrow on The Fan. Live pregame coverage from Autzen begins at 9 a.m. Beavers are also at home to begin the season. They get the Cal Bears at Reser, 7:30 kick on ESPN, Oregon State, a 2-point favorite. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigart from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt, missing work, insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Your home for the Oregon Ducks. EAM.
All right, welcome back in. Dirt and Sprague here on 105.1, The Fan and the Fan Sports Network. We were talking Micah Parsons. We had booked this interview. I was told we only got this interview because we're somebody's people.
We're Andy Bunker's people, man.
This guy does not do interviews unless you are Andy Bunker's people.
You got to be homies with Andy Bunker.
So we're homies with Andy Bunker. So we got his homie, Randy McMichael, former NFL vet, college, Georgia Bulldog, a guy I rooted against for 3 seasons because he was a Ram.
I mean, that makes sense. Divisional rival.
Divisional rival, Niner fan, but I loved him on the Dolphins and the Chargers. He's joining us now. Andy and Randy, middays, 92.9 The Game, the #1 sports radio show in Atlanta, Georgia right now.
Damn right.
Joining us. Randy, thank you for the time. We do greatly appreciate it. I was going to ask you Georgia stuff, and we'll get to that, but what was just your reaction to the Parsons news? Were you stunned? Did you expect it? What do you make of it?
Okay, first of all, Andy is my boy, and I love him. And I don't do a lot of it, but if he asks me to do something, obviously I'm going to do it. But I had to know, I said, these your folks? Because if Andy don't mess with you, I can't mess with you. But he loves you guys. He loves you guys. And so I was like, yeah, I'm all in for it and everything like that. So I appreciate y'all having me on. But, no, you know what? The thing about it is it seemed like this was headed for this. I think that, Jerry has it in his mind that, and rightfully so, it's his team, that he views Micah as expendable. And I think that when you deal in business and you deal in handshake agreements, knowing that, that's how you got this team by a handshake agreement, you still had to draw up these contracts and people had to look over them, the lawyers and things. And I just think Jerry got butthurt because David is who he is. I can't wait to see how this negotiation goes with George Pickens because he's George Pickens' agent. But I just think from a standpoint of the Cowboys, it's just another thing that the Cowboys do.
Yeah, it's just more Cowboy being Cowboy. When you look at the Green Bay side of it, how much does it change your thought on them as a contender? The odds didn't move that much in Vegas, which is kind of surprising to us. They're paying 2 guys a lot of money against the cap, so that's maybe the criticism of it with now losing 2 first-round picks. Does it change your thought in a great deal about the Green Bay Packers?
Well, I think the biggest thing is Jordan Love. I mean, as great as Micah is, and he's a great player, and he's going to help that defense. I love Rashawn Gary. I think he's great. Former dog Quay Walker is becoming one of the better middle linebackers in football. But this is about Jordan Love and him being healthy. And he wasn't healthy all year. We all saw the hit last year he took against the Eagles in Brazil, and he just wasn't right. He played really good down the stretch, but I think missing that time. So as great as Micah is, I just think that this team and everything's still going to boil down to what Jordan Love does. And I think if he's healthy with the additions of those young wide receivers, another year under the belt, going to get Golden from Texas, I think they got just as good a chance as anybody. Now, they're in the most competitive division, in my opinion, in the football in the NFC North. But I think, just the fact is that Jordan Love stays healthy, I think they'll have an opportunity to win a Lombardi.
Randy McMichael, our guest here. Georgia's #1, according to Andy Johnson's preseason top 12 dirty poll. So we will get to some Georgia Bulldogs stuff. 92.9 The Game, Andy and Randy over there. One final NFL-related question for me on this topic. I didn't get to play. I'm a 6-foot white guy who couldn't jump and was not elite in any way athletically. I've never been in an NFL locker room. You have. You were in there for a long time. How overrated do we, the media, and non-NFL former players, when we see these, we go, oh, he's going to lose. Jerry's going to lose the locker room. Nobody's going to want to sign there. How much do we overrate that narrative, or do you find validity in it?
Well, I mean, I find validity in it because, like I said, it's all about, relationships and things like that. And Jerry doesn't feel like he has a build in it. Now, the one thing about Jerry, and I had plenty of friends that played for the Cowboys, he takes care of his players. I think that's the biggest shocking thing about the whole Micah thing, because Jerry pays the stars. He does. And, once you leave, and that's always a selling point when you play for Dallas, is all the opportunities you're going to get off the field and after your career's over. But, I mean, it's a new day and age of sports and everything. It's a point where, you come into halftime and check your social media, see what people are saying about you and stuff like that. So it's so different now, I swear to you, about it. But I think, football is football. Dallas Cowboys are still one of the biggest brands in all of sports. I know the Forbes list came out last week, and I mean, they're the most valuable sports franchise in the world. So I think that just the relationship part about it now. It's like, again, it'll be interesting when he has to deal with other agents, because this is Jerry. Jerry tried to do this with Dak. Dak didn't even converse with Dak. Like, go talk to Todd. Micah didn't do that. And so Jerry, he got a little butthurt about it. Rightfully so. Again, he's the owner. He thought he had a deal because that's how he makes his deal with handshakes. But I don't think it's as big a deal as a lot of people try to make it out, though.
All right, let's get to the Georgia Bulldogs. I got them #1 in my preseason poll. I feel like everybody is just forgetting about Kirby Smart and how good this team was, and they still won the SEC last year despite subpar quarterback play and not really any legitimate threats on the outside. They pushed Notre Dame in the playoff game, bad turnover, whatever it was at the end of the first half. It got away from them against the Irish. But coming back loaded, returning a quarterback who played in a couple of big games last year. Why are people kind of sleeping on Georgia? All the talk seems focused on Arch in Texas, Penn State and what they got. Here comes Ohio State off a title. I feel like Georgia's getting slept on going into the year.
Well, I think it's because we don't know a lot of these guys. I mean, and I'm right there with you. I know this team. Obviously Kirby's a former teammate of mine, and we have a great relationship and things like that. But I think it's because it's the first time you've had a lot of unknown about this team. And I mean, Gunnar Stockton, from what everybody tries to tell me all the time about 5-star quarterback, well, he was one coming out of high school, and he's waited his turn and all those different things. But I think just the unknown. You got so many young players on this team. I think it's like over 50% are first and second year players, and all of these guys are going to have to contribute. So I think that's more of it than anything. I think that, because it is Georgia and it is Kirby Smart, and we do have one of the more talented rosters. It's just not a well-known roster like some of these other teams.
Randy McMichael, our guest here, he's got a show coming up here, so we only have maybe one or two questions left with you. We do appreciate the time. Randy McMichael, Andy and Randy, 92.9 The Game in Atlanta. Is the expectation, I know we kind of get wrapped in it, but is the expectation national championship, you think, for this team, or do you view this team as more just get to the playoff and kind of see what happens?
Hell yeah, it's a championship bus, man. This is the University of Georgia we're talking about. Like I remember the day when, and I'm not saying it wasn't before then, but I remember I was coming home. I was doing the Falcons pregame, and I was pulling into my driveway at my house, and I got the news about Coach Rick being fired, and I love that man. And I already knew that Kirby was going to be the head coach. And when we went to go get Kirby, it was all about championships. It wasn't about just getting to the playoffs. It just wasn't about winning the SEC title. It was about winning championships. And the expectation will never be lowered as long as he's the head coach of this football team. So, yes, I think Georgia has just as good a team, just as good a chance as anybody to win that championship. It just has to be a point where they got to catch the football. They will not got all these transfers, and then a couple guys that are here that are going to be not as counted on as much as they were last year. And then, but the biggest thing with Georgia is that we were able to run the ball when we wanted to, and we couldn't do that. Yeah. And then to a point where Kirby does not want to have to rely on his quarterback like he wanted to like we had to on Carson. As great as Carson I think he is, it was not what Kirby wanted to do. And us not being able to dominate the lines of scrimmages like we usually do was a big part of why we weren't successful last year.
Yeah. Last one I got for you, man. I was down there in Atlanta, what would it have been, 3 or 4 years ago when Oregon played Georgia in the opener. And Lanning's first game, it was 49-3. Wasn't a very fun trip for me, although I did get to go to a Braves game, and that was pretty badass. But I'll never forget, I knew Georgia fan was intense, but walking up the aisle of a Braves game wearing an Oregon polo and people barking at me threw me off. I had to do like a double take of like, wait, are they am I getting barked at right? And then I realized I was getting barked at. So my question for you is, now that your playing days are over as an alum in a Georgia are you a barker, Randy McMichael?
No.
Okay.
I am definitely not a barker. I am the most low-key fan. I don't really consider myself a fan because, I went to Georgia, played in Georgia. But, yeah, I am the low-key guy there is. I try to get up to at least a game a year, and it's usually like the game before Georgia Tech, which is like southeastern Illinois State or something where it's quiet, not a lot of fans. I get an opportunity to take my kid up there and watch it and everything. But that Oregon thing, that's Andy's favorite part because, as you know, we had Marcus Mariota on the show that week. And I just asked, I was being really sincere about asking him about, do y'all think y'all are going to cover? Because I knew we were going to beat the hell out of them. I was just curious. And I guess he took offense to it. And Andy, that's his favorite, one of his favorite parts of our show is that part right there.
Well, he's an idiot Husky, so he's my people, but he's also a Husky, so I don't overlook that fact,
Good stuff. Randy McMichael, 92.9 The Game, Andy and Randy in Atlanta. Hey, man, really appreciate you doing this. I know you don't love to do this stuff, but we're all people now, and so I'll randomly send you a Dolphins jersey to sign, and we'll catch up with you soon.
I got you.
All right, there we go.
Sounds good, my man. Y'all take care, man. I appreciate y'all so much.
All right, there we go. Good stuff. Randy McMichael, former NFL tight end, Georgia Bulldog. I love that he's kind of like, yeah, don't really know the team that well. Hell yeah, the expectation is championship.
It's the Georgia Bulldogs, man. That's what we do now. You set the bar and you went back-to-back national title games. Anything less than that, it's going to seem like a disappointment.
Him and Bunker do a great job. I don't catch the show every day, but I will tune in because I've known Bunker a very, very, very long time. He was one of the more nice people to me when I got into the radio industry, and so I'll always tune in. Him and Randy do a great job. A lot of fun down there in Atlanta. So our thanks to Randy McMichael 92.9 The Game, Andy and Randy. A couple more thoughts, and then we'll get to some college football. We know it's a big college football weekend. We'll get into the Oregon State stuff, Washington, the national big games, Texas, Ohio State, etc. A couple more thoughts that I want to carry over from what we just heard next on The Van. Well, college football kicked off last night, week 1 at least. We had week 0 last week, week 1 yesterday. We'll have some more today, and then we will dive all the way in on Saturday, including my co-host on the pregame show.
Hey! Boy, was I glad I didn't put Boise in the preseason dirty poll.
Is it 8 a.m. or 8:30?
Tomorrow's 9
a.m.
9
So
a.m.
1 p.m. kick.
Oh, 1, that's right. I had it 12:30.
12:30 is next week.
Okay, thank you. So catch Dirt tomorrow, 9 a.m., bright and early on the Duck pregame show.
We got a new location this year, too. We're out front of the old, we're out front of the baseball stadium.
I was going to say,
You're
what's
out
old
amongst,
in
Nothing's
Eugene?
really
amongst the peoples.
We're we used to be locked up for the first hour. Nobody could touch us.
Yes.
Now we're out with the masses.
Okay.
So it should be a lot of fun.
So catch them out there, and then Oregon will play Montana State. We'll get to all the local games, the national games coming up top of the hour. We had a listener last night tweet us and basically say, guys, please, for the love of God, go to Dallas. I need this. And I love the enthusiasm for it. I went as soon as this news broke and turned on our sister station in Dallas, 105.3, The Fan.
Yes.
And then I turned it on my way in. And so for 2 different shows, I think the first show I listened to was Gavin Dawson's. The second was Sean and RJ. And it's just 2 shows. I think they have 3 or 4 all day.
Yeah, full lineup.
But of at least half the shows, if not 75% of their shows, I got to be honest with you. I didn't even make an effort. I was kind of surprised how little they seemed to really care. Not that like they didn't talk about it, but more so just, well, I think Kenny Clark can be pretty good. How much better can they be next year defensive? Like it just was very calm. It was I don't know. It's very mannered.
No yelling, no outrage.
They didn't. And maybe I missed the part of outrage. Their listeners were calling in outraged. From what I heard, both shows didn't really seem all that bothered. They just traded an all-pro stud edge rusher because the owner got pissed off that he didn't accept the backroom deal.
It was more the thing's done now. We can actually move on and figure out what the team might look like.
But there
this
was
season.
no outrage about it.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised by that.
I think it goes to, so like comparing it to the other one in Dallas, you just can't, because one guy in the NBA has such a bigger impact, first off.
He meant a lot more than to the city than Micah did. He was very Dallas heavy. Micah wasn't really seen in Dallas outside of the games.
No. And then the other part of it is that the Mavs were just in an NBA Finals. The Cowboys are the only team in the NFL in the last 30 years to not go to a conference championship game. Isn't that the stat that floated? Like the only NFC team in the last 30 years.
NFC.
In the NFC, to not go to a conference championship game. Like, it wasn't like you were butting up against winning back-to-back titles here, and then, oh my God, what are we going to do now? I don't think they had a lot of hope coming into the year to begin with. But I also think it goes back to the idea of, and this is the one area where it's like, 5% of me wants to give them credit for doing this, but the only reason, again, I'm giving them credit is because they screwed everything else up. And that is, if they signed Micah Parsons to $45 million a year, Dak and CeeDee Lamb combined to make something like $95 million or whatever.
Dak is 60 and CeeDee's in the
30s.
Yeah.
Like, it's $90-something million a year. If you give him 40 and you're paying 3 guys $130+ million a year, they were already a top-heavy team that was not competing at the highest level, even when all 3 of those guys were healthy. They were good offensively. They'd probably be a playoff team, but I didn't take them seriously as a contender. So I think that would be the other part of me as a Cowboy fan. Like, I'd be pissed because Jerry just screws everything up, it feels like, and I have no faith that he'll fix it. But at the same time, like, yeah, man, not paying him is not going to dictate or change the next couple of years of their organization that much in my mind. They're probably still a borderline wild card team like they would have been with him. Mm-hmm. You got 2 more first-round picks. I would tear the whole thing down, but I think that's maybe the reason it was a muted response.
Very quickly, and then we'll go to the second hour of some college football. What does this do for you with Green Bay? Rashawn Gary now, Micah Parsons, former Duck Evan Williams. They've got Xavier McKinney, Keyshawn Nixon. Like defensively,
a legitimate threat to win the
NFC.
NFC.
Offensively, you've got Love, you got Jacobs, Reed's coming back. They just drafted Golden. You'll have Dobbs.
Golden,
Watson will be back eventually, and you've got 2 tight ends in Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave if he can stay healthy. What does this do for you with Green Bay? Do you
pressure on Matt LaFleur the next 3 years? Like, I don't know how long. Like, you got a star quarterback, you got the best edge rusher in the NFL. Let's go win something, man. They went on a run in the playoffs 2 years ago. Last year flamed out. Injuries were a big part of it, but they love Matthew Golden. Feels like he's going to be a number 1 wide receiver for them. They got one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. They got to keep him upright, and now you've added Micah Parsons. Like, Now you're on the nut crunch time of you better go win something here in the next couple of years to pay this thing off.
I know he just got there, but he's an edge rusher, so it's like see ball, hit ball. This, to me, puts like a standard, unless you have a massive injury.
Yes, NFC
you better be in the
Championship
NFC Championship game.
Yeah, especially with the way the rest of that conference looks. Of not like Detroit, you're still super high on, and I don't blame you at all. They got a good team. New coordinators, though, how does that affect them? Philly is Philly. Outside of that in the NFC, what do we got?
Yeah, who's scaring you
Can
right
Washington
now?
do it again? They got to go prove it after 1 year. The
Can
Niners.
Matt Stafford stay healthy?
Can Matthew Stafford stay healthy? Half the Niners team is on IR. The Seahawks are breaking out Oregon Duck jerseys. I don't know if that leaves you inspired. So you look at like Minnesota's got a rookie quarterback essentially. Dude, the NFC is
Chicago's proved nothing.
Chicago's proven nothing. Like get to the playoffs.
Tampa's
first.
Tampa's
good.
I mean, they're good, but do they scare you?
No, I don't think so.
People don't think Baker can quite get there, I think, but we'll see.
I'm with you. NFC title game or bust, and you got a 3-year window here now where you want to pay it off.
Loaded second hour, busy and crazy. Week 1 of college football. Historical, some say. We'll start college football talk next. Hour 2, Dirt and Sprague on 105.1 The Fan.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on The Fan, just a week before the Cowboys will open the 2025 NFL season against the defending champion Philadelphia Eagles. They traded their best defensive player, pass rushing specialist Micah Parsons, now a Green Bay Packer, in exchange for defensive tackle Kenny Clark and 2 future first-round picks. Parsons then agreed to a 4-year, $188 million extension with Green Bay with $136 million in total guaranteed money. College football week 1 continues tonight with action on 910 ESPN. Portland. Georgia Tech will visit Colorado. That's a 5 o'clock kick. Our pregame coverage starts at 4:30. The Yellow Jackets, a 4-point favorite on the road. Ducks and Beavers opening up their seasons on Saturday. Oregon 28-point favorites over Montana State. It's a 1 o'clock kick from Autzen right here on the Fan. Our live coverage from Eugene begins at 9 a.m. The Beavers are also at home. They welcome the Cal Bears into Reeser for a 7:30 kick on ESPN. Oregon State 2-point favorites. Kyle Schwarber became the 3rd player this season and 21st player ever in the major leagues to hit 4 home runs in a game. He drove in 9 runs. The Phillies clobbered the Braves 19-4. Schwarber now just 1 home run behind Cal Raleigh to lead the majors. He has 49. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigard from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Recruiting with Network.
All right, welcome back in. Hour number 2, Dirt and Sprague here on 105.1 The Fan and the Fan Sports Network. Good morning. Happy Friday, everybody. We've made it to Football Friday.
We have. How many people heading out of town for Labor Day today? I bet the office is going to be pretty empty.
I heard the office is closing at 1.
That sounds about
I would argue the office closed yesterday. I was here.
It might.
There was nobody
the boss,
here.
Whenever the boss is not here, it's like, oh,
Free pass. That roll call's gone. I mean,
there's no roll call.
Who's doing roll call?
Nobody's in here checking to see if I'm here or not.
No,
the
the
hell
Fan
outta
Sports Network will be working much of the weekend. Definitely all day Saturday.
Yes, we'll be around tomorrow. We don't have a show on Monday, though. No Monday Labor Day
Monday
show.
we're off.
We will not be on Monday. I know some of you will be like, "What? Hey!" Like I know.
Well, the week's not over. College football weekend's not over. You will hear TCU and North Carolina live on the Fan.
The weird thing for us
Monday
in our
night.
situation, and I do sympathize with listeners that don't go out of town and maybe they are working and what? It's weird for us because we do the show and we just know that the audience is a little smaller, and then Tuesday it's the same show. So you're just like, I already heard this straight.
You already talked about the Ducks in Montana State. Move on, man.
Literally remember reading a text years ago. We did that, and I gave a take, and then Tuesday we did the topic. I gave the same take. I liked the take.
Wait,
and the guy,
your take didn't change from Monday to Tuesday? Come
no,
on, man.
And this guy was like, I heard you say this yesterday. I know. I'm sorry.
60% of the other people didn't hear me say that, though, because they were driving back from the beach.
I love our listeners.
We love you.
We do love you. We'll be here Tuesday.
Yes, we will.
With all the hot takes.
All of them.
Because we give such scorching takes.
And we'll be 48 hours away from the start of the NFL season, featuring the Micah Parsons list, Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. I already got the Eagles minus the 7.5.
Should have locked that in earlier.
I want to know
that
what
was known.
Saquon's prop on rushing yards changed after that.
Well, hey. Micah can't stop the run. Kenny Clark can stop the run, okay? Easy.
A lot to get
Clark
to.
even going to play.
Probably not.
In the second hour of the radio program, we will dive in to Oregon State. We'll get to the local games. Let's start something we haven't talked about. My God, how bad was that football yesterday?
It's pretty bad. A lot of bad football yesterday.
I was reminded
A lot of bad football.
how it takes a couple weeks for some of these teams' motors to get really revved up. Boise State just starting things by getting whopped by a hoss.
Can we hang on to the football? Is that too much to ask?
Dude, it was everywhere. They couldn't stop that kid.
Nope.
They could not stop that kid.
He had plays where it didn't look like he was even running, and then he just exploded down the sideline
Like,
for a touchdown.
Also, the fake punt. How do you not
know that that's a quarterback and not the punter out there?
I get that it's game one, but that should be pretty basic stuff of
Unless,
that's a
now,
totally
I know
different
in college
player.
sometimes you have dual numbers. Does the punter? I don't
That's
know.
only he did not change his number when he ran on the field. He did
No,
not.
I know that. No. But you can have because
I don't think you
there's-
can have the same number on the offense.
That's when you have to do the dual number thing.
Yeah, it's offense defense.
But
so I don't think a punter can have the same number as an offensive player.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's on the field with another offensive player.
Gotcha.
So that usually is happening on kickoff, punt, return for like a wide receiver or a DB or those kind of two number twos, but you can't both be number two on the field at the same time.
That's the only plausible explanation if the punter had the same number as the
backup quarterback. That game totally changed. Like that was a back and forth game. Boise State was shooting themselves in the foot, and then they fake the punt, turns into a touchdown. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
And then they just never recovered from then on out. And that was a shellacking, man.
It was. I also would say this. I don't know how good USF is going to be. I think everybody's in the same boat unless you're a diehard Group of 5 fan.
Yeah.
We have no idea if Boise State will lose again.
We don't. We have no clue.
They still might be the highest ranked Group of 5 team by the end of the season who makes a play. I'm not ready to just scratch them off.
They go to Notre Dame in early October. I'm not loving their chances in that game.
I'm a scratch.
This is also the funny thing about the schedule game that we do of like Notre Dame is considered to have a tougher schedule this year than they traditionally do, and that was one of the games that people mentioned. Now, again, we don't know how good or bad Boise is going to be.
I don't know.
We'll see how the rest of the year goes. Game 1 was less than encouraging, but it's just funny how we play the schedule game and then you're like, oh, that's now an unranked game.
Minnesota looks like the most obvious 7-5, 8-4 team that wins 26 to 22 every game, and
the same team they've been every year, basically. Good defensively, bad quarterback play.
I'm hoping we get to interview PJ Fleck the week of Oregon because it's a Friday game. I would love to. He was a good interview, but I mean, it's probably also he's limited by what he can get at Minnesota. That team is just the same team. We're going to run the ball. We're going to kill the clock. We're barely going to beat Buffalo.
It's Big Ten football.
Yeah.
How is Oregon going to survive that meat grinder, man? I just don't know.
Wisconsin looks every bit the 4-win team that people have promised.
I don't know what their over-under was coming into the year. Was it 5.5?
It's 5.5.
That is the easiest underbet in the history of gambling. Save this for if they win 6 games. I
watched that team play.
They have one of the hardest schedules in the country, and they suck.
I saw that they didn't score their first touchdown until 4 minutes and change in the third quarter.
That was 3-0 at halftime.
Against Miami of Ohio.
Yeah, Danny O'Neal, who I remember watching a couple of years ago when Oregon State went down. Maybe that was last year, whenever they went to San Diego State to play a game, and they were in a bit of a back-and-forth game before pulling away late. Danny O'Neal was the quarterback that year at San Diego State, and I totally forgot that he transferred to Wisconsin. Good luck with that, man. You got one of the hardest schedules in the country. You're still incompetent offensively. That has not changed about you.
Yep.
That has 3 or 4 wins written all over it.
I mean, I know they did the jump around, but they showed the highlights. It was like 17-0, and they showed up kind of into the crowd and some empty seats. There were some empty seats.
Dude, if I go to that game and it's 3-0 at the half, I'm getting the hell out of there. It's a night game too. It's late. All right, I'm leaving, man. I'm not watching this.
I think they just gave him an extension.
They did.
There has been nothing, like zero encouraging signs about Luke Fickell at Wisconsin.
Yep.
That was a weird fit when it was announced. I thought he way overreacted to a playoff run and took the first big gig he could get.
Yep.
Jonathan Smith might be in this same thing. And I just was like, you're going to take your air raid fun offense to Wisconsin?
Not going to fit, Bob.
And he has now since pivoted out to saying, we need the big uglies. We got to run the foot. That was awful. And then Nebraska.
Doing Nebraska things.
Dude, I know this kid is downplaying it, and we already talked about it, but did you see, like, early in the game, I think it was the first drive, Raiola did the finger, hurry up, give me the play thing, exactly the way Mahomes, and I think he caught himself doing it and, like, stopped. But he did it and I'm just like, dude,
you can't help yourself.
Somebody was like, it has to be a disease at this point.
Yes, I think it does. Somebody had a funny joking tweet where they just said, here's Dylan Raiola walking into the Arrowhead tonight for the game, and it was just a video of Patrick Mahomes walking into the stadium. Like, it's awkward, it's uncomfortable. He was there to watch it in person last night. That was the most Nebraska game of all time.
That Sorsby kid was fun to watch on Cincinnati, and those unis and helmets were sick.
That was a fun little uniform matchup because Nebraska's got the historic look, and Cincy's that was a good look. I love the all red. He couldn't really throw the ball a ton, but he was a hell of an athlete. He was tough to stop on the ground. And it was just like Nebraska had no business being in a one-possession game. When you look at like time of possession, plays run, yard, like every category was dominated by Nebraska, but they couldn't score touchdowns when they got inside the 10-yard line. They had like a 1st and goal or a 2nd goal on the 2 and had a false start, had to go back to the 7, settle for a field goal. Just those little things that add up throughout the course of the game, and you're like, wait a minute. Cincinnati's got the ball with a chance to tie the game or win the game somehow, some way, because that's how Nebraska plays all of their football games.
Did you think that was going to be a touchdown? 100%.
The second that ball went in the air, I thought, oh my God, they're going to lose again. This is going to happen again. The numbers on this, by the way, they are since 2018, which is when they hired Scott Frost. That was his first year at Nebraska.
Oh, UCF, by the way.
They won 20-17 the final.
Yeah.
Nebraska was going into last night 10-35 in one-score games. Oof. They are 25 games below 500 in one-score games in the last 7 years. And so they were all having PTSD. I'm sure their fan base was watching the end of that of like, here we go again. And then the kid made a hell of a play and a nice interception. I thought the receiver should have helped him out.
The receiver needs to play defense there, dude. What are you doing? You're
also
right
tough
there.
because they got the PI. They're in field goal range.
I know.
And hey, let's go for the win. But that was the worst possible outcome there for Cincinnati.
It was, but Nebraska got the win. I don't know if that left Nebraska fan encouraged, but again, it's week one. We need to constantly remind ourselves. You needed to get a win. You did.
Oregon barely beat Idaho in week one, and they went 13-0.
There's going to be, we'll get through the schedule here, and we'll get to Oregon State stuff, but like, we need to remind ourselves to be level-headed. We're going to want to way overreact to some of this stuff.
Every year.
Now, some teams, I think we properly react to. Other teams, slow starts, not maybe as clean and impressive in week one, but that doesn't mean they need to be completely eliminated and left for dead. So
no.
I don't know how much better Nebraska's going to get.
They just needed to win the game. You just can't lose. I don't care about covering this, but you just couldn't lose that game with all the expectations coming in.
Well, it was a home game. I know it was supposed to be technically a road game for them, but it was an absolute home game. There was nothing but Nebraska fans there outside of 4 Cincy Bros and Kelsey.
Yeah.
You just needed to win. And so we'll see what happens. Nebraska does get the win. Couldn't cash in on touchdowns in the red zone, to your point. We did have Scott Frost debut at UCF.
Yeah, I didn't actually see any of that game. How'd that one turn out? That was not on my radar last night.
It was 3-3 going into the fourth quarter.
Who did they play?
They played Jacksonville State. They won 17-10.
Things are going great, man.
Oklahoma State struggled actually for a long time against UT Martin.
Talk about how random ways to score. The only UT Martin touchdown was a trick play.
Unbelievable.
Wide receiver pass where the guy made a one-handed catch in the end zone. That was a 20-7 game until about 4 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And what did we announce on the pronunciation of the kid? Is it Haas Haney?
Yes,
Haas Haney. That's the quarterback. He looks like a fun little athlete. I didn't see all of it. It was an ESPN Plus game, so it's kind of hard to flip around to that one.
Sure.
But he was running around making plays. They played 2 different guys, which I was kind of surprised by because I thought the Haney kid was the starter.
Mm-hmm.
But he looks like he could be a bit of a difference maker on the ground. I don't know if you're encouraged by the overall team performance, but he's a young quarterback and maybe he gets better.
Yeah, I think I just confused at the start of the segment the Haas kid from Oklahoma State to the South Florida
I think
kid.
you did. I think you did.
Is that why you were laughing?
That was why, yeah.
You should have told me.
I when you say stuff like that as confidently as you do, I think, did I miss something?
Oh, I have those
And then I
moments
look
sometimes,
internally and I'm like, am I an idiot? Is this my fault here?
Byron Brown.
Yes, that was a South Florida quarterback who
That
also
was the kid,
used his legs to make a lot of plays.
Yeah, he threw for 210, no tuds.
Yeah, but the Haas Haney kid, he was running around, so he might be a bit of a problem next weekend at Autzen, but I don't know if you're that concerned about the way the overall team looked at Oklahoma State.
So week one is kicked off yesterday, so we got more games today and then almost the full slate this week, and we'll get into some more college football. The big games of the weekend, and which X is going to prove to have the better season. Which X?
Check in on our X's, huh?
Sometimes you check in and see how the X is doing.
Did they get hotter? Did they get uglier?
We'll have to talk about that.
Up a couple of sizes? What are we looking at here?
We'll get to Yogi Roth at 8, and we will get to the Oregon Ducks and the Oregon State Beavers today, as well as week one is kicking off. Dirt and Sprague back with more on 105.1 The Fan. We'll talk ball with Yogi Roth coming up at 8 a.m. Want to remind you that Football Talk on the Fan is presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much these days, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL game live every Sunday on CBS and Paramount Plus all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started. We talked a lot of the Micah Parsons trade in the first hour. Randy McMichael for a Georgia preview / NFL reaction to Micah Parsons. So if you missed that, you can catch that at 1051thefan.com, our first hour of the program. We will get into Oregon State. The expectations.
We got to do our win-loss predictions today.
We do.
And then we'll play Flip It or Stick It halfway through the year again this year.
Flip it or stick it, and then I think we also need to pick our conference winners.
Ooh, full season predictions.
I mean,
this is getting exciting now.
I need to give my natty pick before everybody else on the station steals it.
And you don't want it to age, but you got a lot on the line this weekend.
I do have a lot.
You got a big game right out of the gate for your title game pick.
I do. I do. I do. With Texas.
As somebody who went through this last week with the dirty poll, good luck to you this weekend.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
I'm sure nobody will tweet you if the team you picked to win the national championship looks terrible and loses this weekend. I'm sure nobody will jump in your mentions at all.
I was randomly stumbling over some of the big games, and one of them that I think it's not as big because I don't know if we put both of the teams in the title conversation or just one of them.
Okay.
We have a bit of a historical throwback rivalry playing this weekend.
We do, in a standalone game.
They play Sunday
at 4:30.
We got Mario against Notre Dame. Now, this is a game Mario played, and he knows it rather well. It's, we once knew it as the Catholics versus convicts game.
Yes, and Lou Holtz famously one time said, I hate that name because not everybody that goes to Notre Dame's a Catholic.
Suffering succotash.
That was such a great time at those football histories.
But, I think it's one of those, it's flying under the radar of the big games, but it'll get its due on Sunday, and we will watch that. I
love the standalone Sunday game opening weekend of college football.
Well, there's two Sunday.
There are two.
South Carolina plays, Dirty Poll.
Yes, they do. In Atlanta, though, so it's kind of dumb.
It's a weird game.
Neutral site games suck. They suck.
Agree.
Why is it that?
I agree.
What are we doing?
And then we get Mario and Notre Dame. I just was thinking about the ex-lovers of Oregon State.
Oh, yeah.
Look, Oregon's moved on. People, I think, are very happy with Dan Lanning as the replacement. And
things have gotten better.
Oregon State still hates Jonathan Smith a lot.
Yeah.
Feels betrayed.
It's going to linger for a while. That one's different. He was one of you.
Yeah, I don't know if they feel as great about their current coach as Oregon feels about their replacement, but I am just curious, the ex-lovers of Oregon State and how they fare this season and who, by the definition, will have a better year, because they're in two different conversations.
Yes, they are.
But there's a scenario where one guy is disappointing even though he may have more wins.
Yes. There's no doubt in my mind that Miami will win more games than Michigan State this year. Like, if that doesn't happen, dear God, Mario might get fired. I think a lot of it would have to do with asking the question, and one, like, on your brain note, like, if Bray wins 8 games, 9 games this year, I do think that helps
100%.
Heal the wound, because that was what it was for us. The way the first season, it lingers, and then you're like, all right, we're in a better spot now. We don't need that guy anyways. We'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you were a Michigan State fan this year, what would your expectations be going into the season?
7 or more wins.
They were 5-7 last year, 3-6 in conference play. So you want to that to me is reasonable. Can you make a 2-game jump with a returning starting quarterback? And when you actually look at their composite talent, and I know that's not the end all be all. I know, I get it. Do you realize like Michigan State has more overall composite talent than a team like Washington does going into the year? And but that's not a thing that people would ever know. And again, it doesn't mean they're going to win more games than teams like Washington or some of the others that are in that category with them.
Sure.
But I think 7 wins is absolutely reasonable. The other part of it that makes it reasonable is when you go look at their non-conference schedule. So they actually play today. They kick off today at 4 o'clock on FS1. They play
Patsy's, right?
Western Michigan is their opener. They get Boston College at home next week. Bill O'Brien coming to town in his butt chin. And then Youngstown State.
I think in their mind they should be 3-0.
There's a pathway there to be 3-0, and if you're 3-0, you're looking at having to go 4-5 in Big Ten play, which is only a 1-game improvement from what they did last year.
And we saw some of the Big Ten stuff yesterday, and it didn't look overly impressive.
No, dude. Like, the conference schedule isn't the easiest. They got to go to USC, to Nebraska, to Indiana. You got Michigan and Penn State at home, a late road game at Iowa. So there's
some coin flip games in there for them, for sure.
No doubt about it. I would lean. I would probably lean Mario having the better year because, and look, I know that they have the tougher first game.
Does he get to the playoff?
He has to.
But does he, you think?
I do think that they get to the playoff.
Then I think he has the better year,
Yes.
even if Jonathan wins 7 or more games.
I think that's the base level for each team if I'm a fan. If I'm a Miami fan going into this year, you can't miss the playoffs again. You had the number 1 overall pick in the draft last year.
Yep.
Cam Ward was incredible. You wasted his season because you couldn't beat Syracuse and Georgia Tech. Very typical Mario. Playoff or bust for them, and 7 wins for Michigan State. Like, you have to show that growth and development year in and year out. And if they're 5-7 again, or barely a 1-game improvement at 6-6, I don't think anybody's happy at either of those places with both coaches if they fall short of the playoff or win less than 7 games.
I think they might be the more difficult team of the top contenders, quote unquote, for me to really say what they're going to be. Like, I might not be right on what I think Texas is going to be, or LSU, or fill in the blank, right? Georgia. Miami, like, I'm with you. Miami should be 10-2. I don't know, man. That defense was historically awful.
Awful last year.
They hit the portal super hard for it.
They did.
But they also have a quarterback that, even though he's coming in with maybe a poorer reputation to people, 28-12 with, 3,000 yards? Like, that's... You could be doing a lot worse starting at the position.
Yes, you could.
And Cam Ward was good at Washington State. We knew that, but it was a little elevated. So if that offensive line is shored up, you maybe look at Beck and say, why can't Beck be a 35-touchdown guy? He did 28 Georgia, and we thought he was awful last year. So,
yes. And to be fair to him, he lost Ladd McConkey and Brock Bowers, who were huge parts of that offense.
Yeah.
And they should have better weapons than that at Miami. The other thing about Miami, too, is their schedule, man. Like, I know they play Notre Dame in an opener, but that's a home game. Like, Miami people don't show up for games. They'll show up for that one. Like, that'll be a great atmosphere in Miami on Sunday night. I'm sure a lot of the former players will be there, barking on the sideline like Michael Irvin. You get Florida at home. You get no Clemson on your schedule, who is the favorite in the conference.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other teams that's a trendy pick that knocked you off last year was Georgia Tech. You don't play Georgia Tech this year. You get Florida State and SMU on the road, but it's like, is Florida State any good? We have
we'll have
no
to wait and
idea.
Find out against Bama.
We'll see how they do against Bama this weekend. SMU was a fun story last year, but I also think they got the kiss of the scheduling gods, and that was the main reason they were in the playoff.
Agreed.
Talent-wise, they shouldn't be anywhere near you.
Yep.
And so, like, even if you lose on Sunday night, you got one other area that you could probably slip up in, and then this depends on how the rest of the slate goes, because they did lose 2 games last year, and that was enough to keep them out. But they should at least be in the conference championship game, because that would be a non-conference loss. If they lose 2 ACC games again this year, dear God, man, with that ACC schedule, yeah, the pitchfork should come out for Mario.
They'll come out, but I don't think they're going to do anything. They owe him too much money. The buyout's ridiculous. But I would say this, too.
The fan base will be checked out, though.
Yeah, they for sure will be. If you would have told us after that Florida game on ABC
that was the way their season was going to go.
Yeah, that they were going to lose those stupid games.
I mean, that's Mario to a T, is it not? That's been the biggest difference between him and Lanning.
He would have been in the playoff at Oregon, though. If they would have had the expanded playoff in his Oregon era, he would have been in the playoff how many years? 2?
At least 2 of the years. Yeah,
so,
he would have made it.
He's such a weird coach in this way. And I think it was Isaac that said it, and I kind of agreed of like, I don't really separate a lot of coaches from each other. I think there is maybe a couple that I put in a slightly higher pedestal, but I think a lot of these guys, it's just like, do they have the Jimmies and the Joes this year? Yeah, sure, they can do it. And he is one of those. Like, he's not perfect. He absolutely has in-game flaws. His clock management is awful to the point he has to hire a clock management coach.
Yeah, running the ball a couple of years ago against Georgia Tech.
But you can't argue with his pedigree of... He's seemingly a 9 to 10 win coach.
He's good. There's no doubt.
He is good.
He's a great acquirer of a talent. No doubt about that.
I don't know, man. I look at that Miami situation, and it still hasn't felt right yet. And maybe this is the weekend it busts out on Sunday.
Yeah. And
they roll CJ Carr, and he's a freshman, and he's not ready. And there you go. Notre Dame loses. Maybe that happens. I don't know. Notre Dame's another tough team for me, but we act like the guy can't coach at all sometimes, and I think some of that is locally.
Sure, that's unfair.
Kept saying, "Oh, I'm going to be here forever," and then he burns you, and he goes back home, and then in comes an unproven coordinator, and he ended up being great.
He can win you a big game, that's for sure. I mean, he's great at that. It's the other
But he
part.
also loses you that game.
That's the part with him of like, to me, it's the biggest difference between him and Lanning, because he was a great recruiter. He elevated the program. There's no doubt in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
The issue with Cristobal always was he would lose a game or two that he shouldn't lose. And that, to me, is one of the biggest feathers in the cap of Dan Lanning. The worst team that Dan Lanning has lost to in his time at Oregon
is Oregon State.
Who won how many games that year? 10.
That was the best
10-win Oregon State team.
Yep.
Now, they were challenged offensively, and Oregon had a big lead. I'm not saying they should have lost that game.
But from a composite talent standpoint, it's the only game Lanning has lost that he shouldn't have in his entire Oregon career.
4 of the 6 games he's lost were to teams who either won a national championship or played for a national championship, and the other ones are that Oregon State team that won 10 games and the DeBoer first year at Washington when they came in and beat him, and they won 10 games too. He's never lost to a team who has won fewer than 10 games in the regular season. And that was always a thing with Cristobal, where he would beat Ohio State on the road, and then 2 weeks later, you're on the road at Stanford, and you're laying an egg, and you can't do anything. Or you would win a big game at one point in the season, and later in the year, you'd go on the road to Arizona State needing a win, and you'd find a way to shoot yourself in the foot. I think to your point on Miami last year, it felt fake because of how many times they escaped. Like, it never felt real that they were.
Game, right?
They looked great early against Florida. To your point, Florida killed them. You're like, oh my God, he's doing the Gator chomp, haha, telling the recruits to come to Miami, and you're like, damn, this team's going to be great. They almost lost to Virginia Tech in week 5, 38-34. The Cal game was the next week, 39-38. Then they went on the road to Louisville and won 52-45.
Yeah.
Then you had the Duke game 2 weeks later where Malik Murphy was in it until the end, and then they kind of pulled away.
Revenge.
So it was 9-0, but there was like 4 games in there that you thought, God, your defense is going to bite you at some point. And then Georgia Tech got him and Syracuse got him. They lost 2 of their last 3 regular season games. And so that's just kind of who he's been. And until he shows otherwise, that will be always be the thing that holds Miami back. And maybe the playoffs expanded to the point where they can still get in. But he's got to find a way to not let those moments get away from him.
So I went and looked at his football reference, and I know you could play this with a couple other coaches. I think my point on him is I don't know how good Miami can be this year. They're certainly in the expectation of make the playoff. It's year 4, dude. In the portal era, there's no more excuses. Miami has money.
12 teams get in now, man.
12.
SMU was in it last year.
He had 2 seasons at Oregon where win-loss wise would have been an expanded playoff.
Yeah, 10-2 probably in one of those years, but you never know. But 10
in the Rose Bowl year they won
Yes.
with her. Like I think we look at him a little different if the expanded playoff existed in that era.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because he would have been a playoff coach, and you would have said, "Well, I might be my favorite coach, but he's gotten to the playoff."
That's the funny thing about them last year is 10-2 wasn't good enough for them to get in.
Yeah, the Syracuse win was stupid.
It was a really bad.
You cannot lose
dude.
to Syracuse at that point of the season.
And for Jonathan, this is the one thing that I remember saying that when he took the job. Just be careful because, one, the grass isn't always greener. It doesn't always work out. And you're like, after 1 year, nobody's calling for him to get fired. But by the time you roll into year 2, pressure is there, man. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying to win the Big Ten for Jonathan at Michigan State this year, but, like, you better go to a bowl game in year 2. That's a big-time college football program. The bottom half of the Big Ten is dog-ass. If you can't go 7-5, Michigan State fans are going to want to run you out of town.
A lot more college football week 1 around the corner. We'll get to it next, but first, Swag with a sports update.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, it's brought to you by Reynolds Defense Firm. If you've been arrested for DUI, you need a team of attorneys you can put your trust in. Call Reynolds Defense Firm today, online at reynoldsdefensefirm.com. The tremors and aftershock still being felt around the NFL as the Cowboys, unable to get a contract extension done with Pro Bowl pass rusher Micah Parsons, ended up trading him to the Packers in exchange for defensive tackle Kenny Clark and 2 future first-round draft picks. Parsons then agreeing to a 4-year, $188 million extension with Green Bay. $136 million of that will be guaranteed. College football week 1 action continues tonight over on 910 ESPN Portland. You'll hear Georgia Tech visiting Colorado. 5 o'clock kickoff. Our pregame coverage starts at 4:30. The Yellow Jackets, a favorite on the road by 4.5 points. The Ducks will open the season at 1 o'clock at Autzen Stadium. You'll hear it right here on the Fan. Our live pregame coverage from Eugene will begin at 9 a.m. They're 28-point favorites over Montana State. Beavers then also opening at home. The Cal Bears come to Reser Stadium, 7:30 p.m. kick on ESPN. Oregon State a 2-point favorite. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigart from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt, missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Your home for Seahawks football.
You can reach the fan text line at 503-864-6326. We also have the YouTube chat. Good morning to YouTube.
Hello.
Dirt and Sprague here on 105.1 FM, The Fan and the Fan Sports Network, where you'll be able to catch all the action of the Oregon Ducks because we are the home of the Oregon Ducks.
Holy catfish!
Just in case you didn't know.
Be down there tomorrow, man. Leaving bright and early, driving down. Probably watch, or not watch, but listen to Game Day on my phone as I'm driving to hear the takes and the thoughts and the previews and all that stuff. And then the show starts at 9.
I know how much you care about your beloved Duckies.
Yes.
I'm wearing your Oregon gear today. I'm wearing my
Yes.
Beaver hat. But I do ask, in these moments of this kind of weekend, how bummed you are to not be able to sit on the couch and watch, like, Ohio State, Texas live.
Incredibly bummed. Incredibly bummed. That's the biggest downside of it. Now, the beauty of technology is we have the ability to watch games during the show. So I'll take the iPad down.
Sure.
So the show starts at 9. Texas, Ohio State kicks off at 9. So I'm going to watch 2 hours of that, and then I'll probably have it on as I'm driving home, if I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not staying for the game. I'm going to turn around and head back and watch.
Turn and burn.
Should be back shortly after the Duck game kicks off, and then kind of catch up as the day goes on. But that's really the only big game of the early morning slate, if I'm not wrong, I think in the 9 a.m. window. And then a lot of the other juicy ones kind of kick off at 12:30 and then into the evening. So if I miss any of it, I'll go back and watch later in the night.
I'm pretty jacked for that one.
Dude, how are you not?
I mean,
it's number 1 versus number 3. Or 2 versus 3, whatever the
it's
rankings
two
are.
of the top teams in the sport. I don't even need it. I've said
the
this before, I
defending
don't need a
national
number.
champions. It's one of the most hyped players we've ever seen in the history of college football.
Yeah.
It's Texas, Ohio State, 2 of the biggest brands. Like it's massive, dude. It's a huge game.
The funny thing is going to be if Arch isn't like the deciding factor or reason that Texas ends up winning, and it's more like
he goes J.J. McCarthy in the second half, and they run it 87 times.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it
funny.
past it to happen.
Look at that. They're just handing the ball off over and over again.
Where do you think you lean right now of how that game's going to go? And I don't like to do preview stuff in that way. It kind of.
I was hearing. If I might find the drop here. Where's your drop?
What?
I was listening to the boys this morning.
I was listening to the boys in after us. What would we call that? The late morning and the brunch hour? It's not quite lunchtime. It's not in the
I guess
afternoon.
the brunch hour.
Brunch hour.
Because they're done at 1.
They're
People
done at
have
1.
brunch at noon,
so
11.
It's not I guess kind of afternoon, but you get my point.
Midday?
I was listening yesterday on my way home, and they were talking about Texas Ohio State. We're all very excited for the game, and they are both on a Texas blowout.
I piss me off.
We'll see how it turns out,
Piss
right?
me off.
To
Stealing
each
my
their own.
takes. I'm accusing.
I don't have that level of confidence in either team. I think Texas is probably better, but Ohio State has arguably the 2 best players in the game. Actually, I don't even know if it's arguably. Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Smith are probably the 2 best players in the sport. They're both breaking in new quarterbacks. The game's on the road in Columbus. It's not in Austin, Texas.
Those first week games are always a little weird.
I don't have a feel at all. I actually lean Ohio State a little bit just because of the home crowd and the trust in what they have in Caleb Downs in the secondary and Jeremiah Smith. I think they're both going to be playoff teams. I think they're both national title contenders, but I'd have a slight lean Ohio State going into the game.
I think it's the one thing that I love and kind of despise about the expansion era is this game used to be borderline elimination game.
Everything, yeah.
And now both can lose this game and be A-okay.
You can still win your conference. It's an out-of-conference game. You can still get in as an at-large.
You can lose again and still be okay. You might be able to lose 2 more times. We're probably going to have a 3-win or a 3-loss team at some point get an at-large bid. I don't know when that will be, but I wouldn't be stunned if that happened.
It'll take place at some point.
So knowing that that's kind of part of the deal, it doesn't change my excitement for it. I will be watching right when they kick that ball off, jacked out of my mind that I get to watch Texas at Ohio State. But there is a little bit of relief there as a football fan for me because I love the NFL. That, a great team can lose and not be fully punished by it.
If Texas loses 27-24 on a last-second field goal, I don't think they should have their season ruined because of that.
No, if they were to lose, because Ohio State, a lot of people I think have Ohio State losing, even though I think technically they're the favorite.
They're a slight favorite at home.
It's a pick-em, so the line is
Money's
smooth.
Pick them at A.
And Ohio State is a home team, so that kind of tells you a lot of stuff's coming in on Texas. I'm not saying Ohio State can lose. Their fan base is never happy when they lose.
Oh,
I'm just saying, like, what is the reaction if Sark and Texas don't look the part week 1 and they lose? I think it's a little bigger because at least Ryan Day got that title.
Sure. It's bigger for sure. There's no doubt. But I also like there's this thought that he needs to win a big game, and I just think to myself, well, one, he's won playoff games, although it was against Arizona State and Clemson, so they didn't beat the best teams in the playoff last year, but he has won playoff games. Do we forget a couple of years ago when they went on the road to Tuscaloosa in a non-conference game and beat Nick Saban in Alabama?
That was massive.
That was a huge game, and Quinn Ewers torched that secondary, and Alabama had to soul search after that. Bama still ended up being great because it's Saban, and they're always great, and they made the playoff and damn near beat Michigan, but
this is a title favorite. You know what I mean?
And
so
maybe
much
it's
riding
different.
on this.
I would not have a hot take if as long as it's a close competitive game. Now, if they go out and lose by 17, it's 38-21, and their defense gets torched and Arch looks overwhelmed, then by all means have some takes coming out of the game. But if it's a back and forth game, maybe some freshman mistakes, maybe a bounce doesn't go your way and you lose by a field goal. All right, great game, and we'll probably see you again in the semifinals or the quarterfinals of the college football playoff. Like, that's the way that the sport, I would say fortunately, but some would say unfortunately, is now.
God, I can't wait.
It's going to be incredible, man. It's going to be so much fun.
That's the Klatt game, right?
That is the Klatt Gus Johnson game. And when you look at the slate tomorrow at 9 a.m., you got Syracuse, Tennessee.
I'll keep an eye on that one. Yeah.
That's the only other ranked team playing in the 9 a.m. window.
I'm curious to see what Aguilar looks like for Tennessee because Tennessee and UCLA basically traded quarterbacks without saying they made a trade.
Yes, they did.
And Syracuse is,
You know who their starting quarterback is? You want to play that fun game?
You're going to tell me? I just literally heard it this morning, and I've already forgotten.
I believe I remember reading it correctly. It is Steve Angeli. I don't know how you pronounce his last name, but he was a Notre Dame transfer. He got in a little bit for them last year.
He was the guy we all assumed was going to be the starter this year for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and then he hit the portal.
And now he's the starter at, he came in against Penn State, that's right, in their playoff game. He was 6 of 7, 44 yards. Riley Leonard got banged up and had a couple of nice throws, and he transferred to Syracuse. He's their starting quarterback.
We've got Yogi Roth coming up at 8 a.m., Big Ten Network. That still feels weird to say, but, we're another year into it.
I'm going to tell him to cool his jets, man. Pump the brakes, bro.
You should say it just like that.
Hey, Yogi, what's your beef, dude?
You think Yogi Roth's ever yelled at somebody?
No.
No?
One of the nicest human beings on the planet.
We need to ask him, because I think he coached a little bit for USC back in the day. I need to know if he ever yelled at somebody.
He's a build him up, not break him down guy.
Yeah,
I'm sure he elevated his voice to be heard across a field, but I don't think he's dressed I would be shocked if he dressed anybody
You don't
down.
think he was ever in a film session? He said, "The hell are you doing here?"
No, I don't think. I think it would be more of a positive spin. Now, when we make mistakes like this, we learn from them and we don't make the same mistake twice.
Let's ask him that question at 8. Like, have you ever yelled at somebody from a football perspective?
He's getting me way too excited about Dante Moore. I'm already excited, but Yogi, dude, I got to throw some cold water on myself now.
We'll get into Oregon and Oregon State. Dirt and Sprague back with more on 105.1 The Fan.
It's time for Who's Stinking It Up?
Woo! Do not go in there.
A sports lowlight, ripped from the headlines.
We couldn't do diddly poo.
Brought to you by Three Mountains Home Services. Schedule your appointment online at threemountainshomservices.com.
Fake! He's got him! What a call! Singleton! Balls! Touchdown!
There's Matt Berry, ESPN. I actually felt bad for him. He started this game, and he's like, this offense, you barely get to breathe. Watch how they operate. And they had two or three straight threes and outs, and Matt Berry's like, damn it. But he ended up being right on the call. USF with a fake punt. They ended up blowing out Boise State yesterday to kick off college football week 1, ESPN.
Boise State's definitely stinking it up. I also think the way college football starts is stinking it up. First, we're in Ireland for week 0. What is that? And then the first game on the day of week 1 kicking off is a 20% full stadium in an NFL stadium?
Yeah.
Can I get a good atmosphere? Can somebody get me a Virginia Tech and or Sandman to kick off the college football season? What are we doing?
Who's stinking it up? Boise State start to their season brought to you by Three Mountains Home Services, making it easy for you to save big on an AC tune-up service. Right now, $59 AC tune-up schedule online, threemountainshomservices.com. $59 for an AC tune-up. They make home services delightful.
a.m.
We will talk with Yogi Roth coming up at 8. That'll be the Daily Ticker. We will preseason Sprague the line one more time because the NFL comes back and Dirt wanted to count this week. But then when we Sprague the line, he'll always tell you, I don't gamble on college.
I don't, no.
So why did you want to count this week?
We did last year. I don't know.
We did?
We did last year, yeah.
Oh.
I remember I gambled Penn State, West Virginia, and I lost. And I was like, this is stupid. I didn't even get to gamble on the game, and it counts against my
And you lost.
And
yeah.
I lost. It's like even worse. I'd rather lose money.
Dion says every second quarter of a Colorado home game, this huge waft of weed smell comes down to the sideline, so they spark it up in the second quarter. That is their jump around.
Sneaking joints into the student section used to be a challenge back in the day.
It did?
I mean, once you
joints are easy to sneak in.
I guess I shouldn't say sneaking in. The lighting of them up in the student section used to be a challenge.
Well, you always have to worry about the snitches.
Well, and then there's spotters, and they got binoculars.
Yeah.
They see where the smoke's billowing from.
They do.
Well, most stadiums are now non-smoking of anything to begin with.
Sure. You could just go gummies if you want.
That's a challenge.
Don't know how much we'll even get into it today. It's a football Friday. As you could tell by the show, we're pretty excited about football. We'll get to the local schools here.
Yeah.
Something more rare than a perfect game happened in sports last night.
Oh, what happened?
Kyle Schwarber hit 4 home runs in a baseball game. Now, it doesn't show me on ESPN who he played.
No, there's no way to tell.
Blacked out. It's weird.
No way to tell who the opponent was. I love how my team's just constantly winning games now. Like, oh, yeah, thanks for that. Now let's go sweep the Cubs.
It did look cool. They were wearing the
throwback blues.
throwback baby blues.
It didn't look cool when I watched it.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I didn't even know that happened last night. College football kicked off. But good for Kyle Schwarber. He's awesome.
It's more rare than a perfect game. That's a 19th player to hit 4 homers in a game.
I'm not saying
I thought it was the 21st.
Ooh,
I read.
saw 19th.
Ooh. Fact off.
Third player
Fact off.
season to do it.
That's pretty insane, dude. It's
That's
supposed
a
to be
lot.
more rare. That's a lot.
Definitely
do
less
you
than
remember the two?
No, I couldn't
Absolutely.
tell you.
Mike Cameron.
Sean Green. No, I have no idea.
Talking Baseball says the 19th player in Major League Baseball, 4 homers.
Oh, okay.
Check your number,
I
Swigard.
will go look.
Cross-reference.
Who are the other two?
Gino Suarez did it for the
that's right.
Diamondbacks before he became.
One of those was a grand slam, wasn't it?
I think so.
Okay, I think I remember that game.
And then the rookie from the Athletics.
You might be right here. Google AI saying 21st.
No.
So we got conflicting.
Talking Baseball got
So
their
I think
numbers
Talking
wrong.
Baseball.
MLB.com. Hold on.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
MLB.com.
All right. Check it a little bit deeper.
You know what?
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
You got it, yeah? So I got it. So I
don't
nailed it.
eat the wiener.
I just did eat the wiener.
Yeah.
You are right.
My guess is
Time.
Talking Baseball was looking at the list prior to coming into this season
I guess that would make
and
sense.
did not add the 2 previous ones from
Gotcha.
this season.
Well-
I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, but
Our buddy John Marks in Philly did a bet on his video blog, and he was like, I'm not betting this game. I don't trust the Phillies right now. And I was like, have you watched the Braves?
Have you seen Atlanta play baseball the last
He
2
goes,
months?
but I am all over the plus money for Kyle Schwarber to go yard. And I'm like, dude,
Well,
if you
if
would have
you're-
2 plus homers.
God, he would have made a lot of money.
It was a great call from WIP, and if you're going to do something for the first time since Michael Jack Schmidt, and I believe anybody announcing anything Phillies that goes back to Schmidt must call him Michael Jack Schmidt.
You have to. I think it's
I
third
think
player in
that's-
Philly history, right, who's
when
done
you
it?
sign up for play-by-play or doing anything sports media related in Philadelphia, you must call him Michael Jack Schmidt.
There's somebody out there listening to this that's absolutely rolling their eyes by what I'm about to say, but isn't it kind of crazy how something like this happens? And it used to mean everything to all of us.
Yeah.
And now there's just dirts everywhere going, football's on, man.
Yeah.
Well, look.
It's football.
Football is football, and I love football, and football's back, and
Yes.
football was on, and I'm not watching Atlanta versus Philly. Like,
Thank
nobody
you.
cares about
Yeah.
Atlanta baseball. No offense. They're terrible this year. The Philly, like, the playoffs aren't here. Like, you're not
Wow.
glued to that game. Nobody cares about my team
Just
either.
roach your team.
Nobody cares. The teams are out of the playoff race. They're irrelevant. It's at the end of August. There's a month to go, and they're like 40 games below 500, okay? The other part of it is this is the third time it's happened this year.
So you poo-poo it because it was 3 in a season?
Yeah, dude. If it didn't happen for like 4 years and then somebody hit 4 home
Yeah.
runs, it'd be like, damn, that's the first time since 2021 somebody hit 4 home runs in a game. It would be a bigger. It's the third time it's happened this season.
But these are the moments that I go back when I'm like 11 and 12 watching SportsCenter.
How
and
many
just
of these can
thinking,
you name though?
Well, I
From when
can't
you're-
name them the top of my head. I'm the moments when something rare in a sport happens, thinking how big of a deal it used to be. Like it would lead SportsCenter.
It would, yeah.
Even with college football happening, it would lead SportsCenter.
Yeah, if this happened a month ago, it would be a bigger deal. We'd probably do an hour of the show on it because there's nothing else to talk about. Football's here, dude. That's great. Are the Phillies going to win the World Series?
At this
Or are they going to
point,
choke again?
I'm afraid to post poll questions because Twitter's always pissed off and angry about poll questions, but I want to do Kyle Schwarber, 4 home runs. Yeah, who cares? Football's here, dude. Yes or no?
Nick Kurtz was the rookie from the A's that did it.
Nick Kurtz, okay.
Yes.
I wouldn't have been able to tell you who he was for $1 million.
No.
By the way, did you guys buy your Powerball?
I know I need to do that. On
No,
my
what
own.
is it?
It's like 800 plus million.
900
something. Maybe.
So here is
Hurry up. We got Yogi. What do you got?
Oh yeah. I was just going to say go back and think about how many of these you actually remember.
I only remember Mike Cameron for some reason.
I remember Sean Green.
Sean Green and Mike Cameron are literally the only ones that I remember.
Okay.
So I'm not disagreeing with you that it used to be a bigger deal, but I can only name you 2 guys who have ever done it in the history of baseball.
Is a perfect game a bigger deal for you? Or is it the same thing?
Yes, it's a bigger deal.
But this is more rare.
I know that it's more rare. I don't care. It's 9 innings, not allowing a base runner. That's more impressive than 4 bombs.
Okay.
Especially against that crappy Braves bullpen.
Especially in that ballpark.
I might be able to hit 2 home runs off the
you know
Braves
what?
bullpen.
Enough. Get
Giants
you one
are
of
on
these.
a heater, dude.
Get
Watch
you
out.
one of these.
Are we making a wild card spot? Are we making a
No,
run?
you guys have no chance.
Just swept the Cubs. Where my Cubby fans at? Huh? How'd that feel? Get that broom.
Get you one of these in the 2020s. Get back to me.
I mean, you guys are going to be irrelevant for like a decade. You sell your team off. Cunha's hurt again.
Really?
I don't know. I'm not watching baseball anymore.
It's football season.
God, would you shut up and talk football?
Yogi Roth, Big Ten Network. Let's talk. Is he overhyping Dante Moore? Dirt's a little concerned. Has he ever yelled at anybody in his life? And how about this opening slate? We'll talk with Yogi Roth, Hour 3, Dirt and Sprague on the Fan.
Now, Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, the Green Bay Packers odds improving to win Super Bowl 60 after they were able to acquire disgruntled Cowboy pass rushing specialist Micah Parsons. They had to give up 2 future first-round picks and Pro Bowl defensive tackle Kenny Clark to do so. They agreed to a $188 million contract extension with Parsa guaranteeing $136 million of that. The Ducks set to open up their college football season tomorrow at 1 o'clock right here on the Fan from Autzen Stadium, hosting Montana State, the 28-point favorites. Our live pregame coverage will start from Eugene at 9 a.m. Beavers also opening up this season at home. They get the Cal Bears at Reeser for a 7:30 p.m. kick on ESPN. Oregon State, a 2-point favorite. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigart from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt and missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of prime. The Daily Ticker, where Dirt and Sprague hit the big stories you've heard about and some you haven't.
How'd you do that? Gosh, I'm not even mad. It's amazing.
The Daily Ticker with Dirt and Sprague is poured by Pelican Beach Beer. Crack open a can and ride a wave of refreshment all summer long.
All right, Daily Ticker time to kick off hour number 3, brought to you as always by our great friends at Pelican Brewing. Catch a surf action and good vibes at the 26th Annual Cape Kiwanis Longboard Classic, proudly presented by Pelican Brewing. I'd love to. It's the largest annual surfing event in the Pacific Northwest, and it is the 19th through the 21st of September. You can kick off the weekend Friday night with live music, and all weekend long, enjoy award-winning craft beer from Pelican at their original location in Pacific City. Let's talk some football, baby. It's here. We're all very excited. I'm bummed this guy's not on the call in Eugene tomorrow, but he will be on the call on the Big Ten Network of another game. And joining us now is our wonderful friend, Yogi Roth. And before I get into anything, Yogi, I got to tell you, actually, no, before I get on that, let's answer a question that we had earlier. Has Yogi Roth ever yelled at somebody?
Oh.
Oh, happy football season. Has Yogi Roth ever yelled at anybody?
Yeah.
I have.
Ooh.
I don't know why this comes up, but you ever like ride bikes? You remember like if you're like your kids or your nieces or nephews are like young and they just learn how to ride their bike? I can remember with our son who's now 10, when he was probably 5, ripping around on these streets, and he was going on the left side of the street, and he was so small that cars couldn't see him coming the other way, and he sped up ahead of me, and out came a car, and I screamed.
Yeah.
Dang! So, yeah, I think I've had a few of those moments, but I do try to keep them few and far between so they have a lasting impact.
Okay, that is absolutely warranted to be screaming.
Very
like,
warranted
stop,
scream.
do whatever you can, get out of the way. Hey. You seem very measured. You seem like you're in a really good place. I don't know. I have you doing a little meditation and just being grateful for everything at all times. Have you ever football yelled at somebody like, what are you doing? Or have you ever had one of those moments where you're yelling for a football reason?
Oh, yeah. Well, I am my son's youth flag coach. It's usually more like, I'll say this, like we try to lead the league in high fives and fist bumps. Mm-hmm. And I do believe energy is contagious and energy is felt, and young kids and really all athletes can feel it. So I've done that. Even I can remember coaching, I'm walking on SC's campus now because I have their opener in advance of our production meetings. And I can remember getting after, players in the past. But I've always felt, I learned this from Coach Carroll, like you have 10 seconds. He's always said, you have 10 seconds. So let's just pretend Mark Sanchez threw a pick, which is the guy that I coach primarily. And he threw a pick, and you had 10 seconds to either make yourself, light him up and kind of make yourself feel good. Like, we talked about that. I trained you to read the backside, weak defender. Or you can say, hey, man, did you see the backside weak defender? No. Okay, cool. Hey, we're going to flush it. We're going to come back and check this one later today. Let's get back at 2nd and 7. And Pete was amazing at that. I mean, amazing at coaching confidence and doing it in a way that was like very direct, but every word had purpose. It blew me away how purposeful he would be with his language. And he would call you out. At my first day coaching, I'm screaming because I'm following I mean, our staff was insane, fellas. It was Kenny Norton and Sark and Lane and Brian Carroll and all these like rock stars now in all of football. And I just kept yelling, go, 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 go. And he pulls me in his office and he goes, hey, where are they going? Like, how about go where? And I was like, you know, man. And I use that in youth sports now all the time. Go, 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 go. Like, it doesn't want to say that. Like, kids don't know where to go. And college kids are like, they all want to do well. And I went up to the Raiders to hang out with them before the season just to do some exo stuff with Pete and their staff. And it was the same deal. Like, the language was so purposeful. So, yeah, can I get after it? You're damn right. Like, I'm going to start screaming at my partner, Guy Haberman, here a little bit because it's almost game time. Like, get your you know what right, man. Let's go.
Football season,
I try not to be, you know, you know the word I don't want to say.
Yes,
I try not to be that guy.
Yeah, that's why we love you, Yogi. You coach him up, you don't coach him down. It's a great trend now that some of us didn't have in our childhoods, and I'm glad that players get to experience things differently now. Yogi's going to be on the call. By the way, USC Missouri State tomorrow, 4:30 on the Big Ten Network. So we're going to look at Lincoln Riley going into year 4. You can check out his book, 5-Star Quarterback, and check out the Y Option podcast as well. Give him a follow on Twitter at Yogi Roth. Now I got to get to my beef with you, Yogi. And my beef with you.
Speaking of being yelled at.
You know, look, I get excited for every Oregon football season. I'm an Oregon alum. It's that time of year where our juices are flowing. Season's kicking off tomorrow. Every time I turn on something, Yogi Roth, he's building me up, man. It's Dante Moore this, it's Dante Moore that, elite arm talent. You're building me up like I'm an inflated balloon, Yogi, and I feel like I'm gonna pop. What is it about Dante Moore that makes you love the new signal caller in Eugene?
Well, let me say this. I do believe that, like, in an 18-team league, it's just so hard to cover everybody. And I get, like, the 4 schools being new, and a huge part of me being hired was to bring expertise on all the schools, but also on the ones I know best, or have known the longest, I should say. And I've known Dante for a long time. Like you referenced the Elite 11 and the 550 book. I'm around these guys when they're 16. So you see their natural talent. That's easy. And then you try to tap into their unique traits. And I just believe that every quarterback that is dynamic has to have a unique trait. It could be arm, it could be mind, it could be connectivity, it could be it factor, it could be dual threat ability, it could be, you name it, infectious nature of their personality, but they have to have at least one. And you have to be competitive and accurate, in my opinion, to get in the door and play at a premium program such as Oregon. So check to get in the door, and then what are his unique traits? I think he's done something that very few quarterbacks in the last 15 years have done, which is sign somewhere and say, he told it to me, and I'm sure said it to others, I want to go sit and learn. Like, I want to go be taught the craft. He didn't grow up with George Whitfield and Jordan Palmer, Quincy Avery, like these great QB coaches to train and have that growing up outside of Detroit, Michigan. And then when he gets to UCLA, he was the most talented guy, was thrust into action, had early success, but did not have anywhere near the stripes that I think you need to succeed when you're not, protected everywhere. And Chip's teams weren't dynamic. They could run the ball okay. They weren't great up front. Like, he had to figure a lot of stuff out on his own, and it's hard. And I talked to him before he transferred to Oregon. He said, I want to go learn. Well, think about that. So he went and did what everybody did here at SC back in the day. Leinart sat, ripped it. Booty sat, ripped it. Sanchez sat, ripped it. Arch Manning sat. I think he's going to kill it. I think that's a undervalued trait. And he went up there and talking to Dylan last year, or being up there calling a bunch of games, or talking to the staff. He was doing that. And I know he's not named starter. I get all that. But when I was there for the spring game, you kind of knew it. And after I was there in training camp, I just walked out after being from Penn State all across the country, and I said what I believe. I think he's got the most unique arm talent that my eyes have seen this fall training camp. I think he's got an it factor that is different than Bo and Dylan. So Bo is so type A, so organized, very specific. Dylan was everything you'd imagine coming out of, Mililani in Hawaii. Dante's in the middle. He's got a cool factor in him, but he's got a standards. And he's been trained by Will and Dan Lanning, and he's got a background with Chip Kelly. Like, you start adding those things together, I think he's going to kill it. And I think this team is very undervalued nationally. And I don't think I even went over the top. So I'm sorry that I pumped it up, man. I just said what I thought was to be true.
It's okay, Yogi. The last time my co-host watched his team play, they got drubbed by Ohio State. So he's some wounds are fresh here, and you're hyping it up. And if it ends poorly again, he's probably going to blame you. It's not your fault. It's really a him thing.
It's a me thing, Yogi. So it's not a you.
Don't even worry about him. I do want to ask. I know you're with the Big Ten Network. It's still a little odd for me, but I'm very happy that you have found a home there, and you're still doing great work covering the sport in general. Our Beavs out here, I'm curious. I know you keep an eye on things, and you've called many an Oregon State game. What is your thought of year 2 Trent Bray, Oregon State? I know you're against it, but just what you think Oregon State will be or what you hope they will be this year.
Oh, I'm pumped, and I keep tremendous tabs. A big part of starting Y Option was to keep a community together that was obviously pulled apart, just with the games and the people that you meet on the road and people that hopefully enjoy calling or watching your games. So yeah, keep a bunch of tabs. I did their signing day kind of events in this past off season. Talked to Coach Bray, Coach Gundy, big fan of Malik Murphy. I say this. I was talking to a colleague yesterday who you should have on your show, a guy named Michael Molinari, who he runs all of Pac-12 Enterprises. He used to be our lead producer when Ted Robinson and I were calling games. So we were talking yesterday actually about that game against Cal. And what would you do? How would you call it? So if I was broadcasting that game, and I don't know who it is, but whoever it is, this might be an element to you probably already thought of. But Cal's going to start a true freshman, who I think is awesome. Garrett Sagapatelli, who was a one-time Oregon Duck, literally had the jersey on at the Rose Bowl. Now he's going to start at Cal for Justin Wilkins. He beats out Devin Brown, who came from Ohio State, who hopefully will have a role because he's just an awesome young man. But my point is that Trent Bray is now calling the defense. And a big part of what he did when taking that back was, if I'm in charge of this thing, I got to make sure everybody's bringing their best to the table. And he was, my best is calling defense. I called the game against Caleb Williams when Oregon State had every opportunity to win. You remember that game?
Yeah.
It was at Reeser. It was the last time they played. It was an epic, still a top 5 game ever been in the booth for. Point being, I think that Trent Bray and how he attacked the quarterback is really undervalued. What he did that night to Caleb is that he took away his first read every time. He forced him to get to number 2, number 3. Caleb was still young. I think he only had 7 or 8 starts in his career coming into that game at Reeser Stadium, and he struggled. I mean, up until the last throw to Jordan, forgetting the guy's name, the former Pitt receiver who's playing for the Vikings.
Oh, Jordan Addison, yeah.
Yeah, Jordan Addison. Up until that, he was frustrated. We had shots on him on the sideline, him and Lincoln Riley, frustrated, and just trying to coach him through it. I would be talking about that, the Trent Bray effect of what he could do to quarterbacks. Because then you lay out their schedule, and I get it's not easy, but what can you do early on in the season? Look at last night's games. Name a quarterback that looked really impressive in the throw game for 440. I didn't see one. Dylan Raiola didn't.
Nope.
I mean, none of them. Like the kid at Minnesota, Drake Lindsey, who's hyped up as well. Like none of them did. And I think that's a trend in the first couple of weeks of the season. So I love Malik Murphy. We'll talk about them and their run game and what they have a wide receiver and a kid coming back who's I think will move from the slot and they try and move him all over the place. I go to that. I really think it's undervalued, and that's what I'm going to be keying in on when I always watch those games back. I watch those back on Sunday just to make sure I'm keeping tabs on the Cougs and Bees, and I think they'll both be a really fun story. And the fact that they play each other twice this year, I wish we had that more in college football. I'd love to see like rivalry games, like imagine Oregon State in week 1 and week 12, or SC UCLA in week 1 and week 12, like kind of like the NFL.
Right.
I love that for college football. It'll never happen after this year, but I'd be an advocate.
Yeah, we love talking to him. His name's Yogi Roth. He's going to be on the call tomorrow. Check him on the Big Ten Network, 4:30 USC, Missouri State, as Lincoln Riley kicks off year 4 down in L.A. You can check out his book, The 5-Star Quarterback, the Y Option Podcast, and give him a follow on Twitter at Yogi Roth. We always love talking ball with you. Happy Ball is Back Day, and let's do this again soon, Yogi.
Oh, man, anytime. I'll be up there. I'm going to do I'll be in Eugene in November for one that I think we're going to talk a lot about.
There you go.
Fun.
All right, there we go.
Love it, Yogi Roth. Good stuff from him. Getting ready to call a game tomorrow. We didn't. We could have gone on for an hour with him. I wanted to ask him about USC and Washington, and he's calling that USC game, but he had to go production meeting, getting ready for their call tomorrow. The Daily Ticker, as always, brought to you by our wonderful friends at Pelican Brewing Company. Brandon Sprague, did you know that you can catch the surf action and the good vibes at the 26th annual Cape Kiwanda Longboard Classic?
Tell me
Proudly
more.
presented by Pelicanburg. Have you guys ever surfed?
So we were just in Pacific City a couple weeks ago with the fam, and we all just stood with our feet in the ocean watching all of these surfers, and we just mesmerized by the ability to do it and how much we wish we could do it.
Do you think you could be any good at it?
It's like snowboarding. I think if you gave me enough reps, I could eventually maybe
okay.
do it a little bit. But,
Yeah.
dude, it looks so incredibly challenging.
My balance on boards is not good. I think I'd be a terrible surfer.
Yeah, I don't.
I'd be more, what's the one, the boogie boarding where you lay in the
Body surfing?
Yeah,
body surfing.
Yeah.
Let the wave just bring you in. Give me that one.
This is the largest annual surfing
Just
event
lay down and let the water do the work.
in the Pacific Northwest. They actually have to stand up on the boards on this one, and it's 19th through the 21st of September. And you kick out the weekend Friday night live music all weekend long. Enjoy award-winning craft beer from Pelican at their original location in Pacific City. Let's talk a little bit about the local schools, shall we?
Yeah, we haven't gotten into them yet.
We have not. Oregon kicks off their season tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Oregon State kicks off their season tomorrow at 7:30. Thoughts, expectations, win-loss predictions. We got to do all of it for all 4 Northwest schools. How it's going to go. What are we looking forward to? Let's start diving into the local schools next. 105.1 FM, The Fan.
FM.
All right, welcome back in. 8:21 on your Football Friday. Feels good, man. Poll questions up. Kyle Schwarber hit 4 bombs last night.
Who cares? Football's
no
here,
one cares.
dude.
Football's here, dude. 65% of the vote. No one cares. Football's here, dude.
Here we go.
Harley chiming in. It was so nice watching a fourth quarter drive last night. Dude, we had a great catch, no catch on one of the the Nebraska touchdown where the guy went and it kind of bobbled and the knee was like, oh.
I thought for a second it was a no catch, but his toe got down.
He might have been out. When did he get possession?
The toe, and then it folded down to the shin, but he had control.
You know what's funny about that?
Love a good catch, no catch. Text in the group chat immediately with other buddies. That was a catch. That wasn't a catch. That was a catch.
I'm going to tell you something very depressing.
Ooh, what do you got?
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Bring it on.
I don't have a group chat that is active like that.
Ooh, for football games?
I have friends that like sports. I don't have friends who love sports. So like I literally don't have people that I text that are on a group chat where I'm like, is that catch or no catch? Most of it's going to be, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Give me a rope in. You want to be in the group chat?
No, I'm not saying I'm sad about that.
Yeah.
I kind of like it. I don't feel like I'm always beholden to respond to anything.
Oh, you know me. I don't hardly ever respond, but I chime in every now and then. For a good catch, no catch, I'll jump in.
Yeah, for college, I don't have one, but for the NFL, my fraternity brothers, because we all have a fantasy league together that's just us.
Yeah, fantasy leagues will do it.
Yeah,
NFL, there will be stuff flying back and forth.
It's going to be sad and kind of pathetic to say this out loud, but because of the way I grew up where I had to I was playing alone in a backyard when nobody was home and I was pretending. I just kind of used to just...
game-winning
Was that a
TV?
catch? I think that's a catch.
That's a catch. That's not a catch.
Final ruling. No catch. It's a catch. Damn it.
I love it when I have a take on something and then by the time I get my phone out and send the text, they've already made a ruling on the play and I'm like, well, that's dumb. I didn't even get it off in time.
Speaking of local schools, that kid, Cal transfer.
Yeah, he was Cal transfer wide receiver who is in Corvallis. I want to talk about that game here in a couple of moments. Oregon kicks off their season tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
Yes.
The mighty Bobcats of Montana State are in town.
Now, we talked about this last year with Idaho, and Idaho put a scare in them, but
They did.
is always going to be, for me, you prefer the build-up game where you blow a lesser-than opponent, or...
As long as it goes according to plan, yes.
Does the opening game of the season need to be
Texas,
a good
Ohio
matchup?
State.
Yeah, not even that level, but formidable...
Nebraska, Cincinnati.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean that would be like Oregon opening with Oklahoma State, right? Where you're like, okay,
if Oklahoma State was
it's a
first,
program I've heard of.
What about Utah? Like Oregon, Utah revival.
I'd be okay with it, reviving the old Pac-12 rivalry.
That'd be something great.
I'd be fine with it. Look, as long as you're only playing one of them, it's fine. And as long as you do what you're supposed to do, it's fine. Because I think there are things that you can accomplish out of it. All the young guys that should play. I get from a non-Oregon fan base standpoint why nobody really cares about this game. I don't blame you at all. Insert, Georgia playing, Marshall this weekend or whoever they're playing.
Missouri yesterday.
Dude, if you're not a fan of the team, I don't blame you at all for not wanting to watch it and not wanting to care about it. And we all know what the conclusion of the game likely will be.
Sure.
I will say for a year where there are so many news, and I'm also a sicko, so, take this with a grain of salt. There's Dante Moore. Do you leave the game? Not that if he looks great, it means he's going to be great, but is it a question mark at the end of the game? Are there moments where you're like, ooh, that wasn't a good throw? Ooh, why'd you throw that
stat line, though, that exists for you to walk out and go, I don't know yet?
Does he throw 2 picks? Does he, is there those kind of moments where you still win the game, but you're like, that wasn't good? Does DeCorian Moore look like a game changer at wide receiver? Does he have a bunch of big plays? Does he look explosive in the open field? How does the offensive line gel together? Do you have your issues blocking like you did last year? I think an underrated storyline going into the game is what's the running back rotation? Mekhi Hughes gets all the headlines coming into the year because of the transfer status and what he did at Tulane. Mm-hmm. But Noah Whittington looked great at the end of the year, and they love their freshman running backs. Does one of those guys get some primetime carries before it's a blowout? So don't blame me at all. I know you'll watch it because of the job, and we'll talk about it on Tuesday.
Yeah.
For non-Duck fans who don't want to watch, I don't blame me at all, but as a Duck fan who's just excited to have his team back playing again, there are a lot of things that I will take away from tomorrow's game.
Every fan base can relate to and sometimes our teams are not very good, but for the fan bases that have excitement, we all have a week that we're like, Oregon State's got a few of those weeks.
This game coming in like week 7, totally different. The only reason there's intrigue in it is because it's the first game of the year.
See, the other funny thing is come Tuesday when we talk about everything we're about to watch, right? I think a world exists where you don't come in and you put a stamp and say, Dante. I think Dante could have 230 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Oh, yeah, it's not a conclusion.
It's not like
especially-
world beating. I think Demcorian Moore could have 4 catches for 60 yards, and maybe those things make you come in and go, yep, they're legit. But it's also the opponent that if that is the case, you're going to go, that's a nice little game, but you're not going to feel like over the moon because of who they beat and what it took to beat
Well,
them.
and I also think there's the potential they could rush for 400 yards.
Exactly.
If,
no
if
doubt
the
about it.
offensive line has their stuff together and wants to and learn from last year, that's in the back of their minds. And like you've said, there's 5 or 6 running backs that could legitimately see the field.
You don't need to show shouldn't theoretically need
No,
to show
you don't
a lot
want
to
to show
win
a
this game
lot.
going
And if they're
away.
just blowing them off the line of
Yes.
scrimmage, I could see them, let's keep it on the ground.
Yeah.
And we'll throw a little bit to work on, plays and formations and timing, but
Like,
there's
this
no
is a game
need
you're
to.
expecting to see Novosad in, right?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah. I mean, I think you'd say that about a lot of the young guys. I did say that last year and it didn't turn out well. So we'll see if it pans out that way this year. It's not even necessarily about like anybody who comes away with a positive conclusion of like, oh, he did this against Montana State, therefore X, Y, and Z will follow.
Sure.
It's more about not having a concern coming out of the game. Does that make more sense? Like not leaving the game being like, uh-oh, that might be a problem.
But I think
And we did that last year, and
Yeah.
they ended up almost being winning the Joe Moore Award as the best offensive line. But at the conclusion of that game, it was like, oh,
They couldn't block Idaho.
That might be a problem. I don't know about that. So that's all I'm looking for of like, did we just come out of the game? You do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
There's not a glaring red flag of like, dude, what's going on at D tackler? What your linebackers were nowhere to be found, or Dante Moore threw 3 picks.
You don't have a mess of false starts
Yes,
with the offensive
penalties
line
or dumb
whatever.
moments or turnovers. Or just don't have any major red flags coming out of the game. Play a lot of your young guys, and all right, let's go see what you do against Oklahoma State.
Just go out there and execute.
Yes. Simple. Football's football, don't you know?
Football, yeah. What did Lanning say yesterday to Isaac and Suk? He said something like,
it was close.
Winning football is winning football.
something
I
like
think
that, yeah.
winning football is winning football.
I thought that was a great line.
Yeah.
We got one from Randy McMichael this morning.
Randy
Football
McMichael
is
gave us a
football.
football is football.
He did you pull it?
I'll get it.
We need to throw that on the board.
We should throw it on the board. Can you see if I think Buck pulled the Lanning one of like winning's football is winning football?
I think that's their challenge every week is to try and get him to say football is football.
Yeah.
And he's done it a couple of times, but they were hoping to get one out of the gate early. And winning football is winning football is that applies.
I enjoyed the conversation they had with him. He was in a good mood, and so you can catch that at 105.1. He'll be on every Thursday at 4. I just also love how good of a mood he was in. One, it is a little, no matter what he says publicly, it's a little bit of like all right, let's ease into this season because this opponent's restarting and they are a much lesser than
For sure.
opponent. But I love the nature of which he was at yesterday versus where is he at by week 7.
Ripping your head off for a certain
We're not
question?
ripping your head off.
Depending
but
on how the year's going.
yeah, not willing to like dive into as many fun things maybe at that point.
Winning football is winning football.
There it is.
Winning football is winning football.
He ain't wrong. All right, before we get to Oregon State, because I'm going to talk about them next, and then we'll, at the end of the third hour, do a little Washington State thing. I'm all over the place. Let's do this team by team as we preview them. Give me Brandon Sprague, Jason Swigard, Andy Johnson, third person.
Yep.
Win-loss prediction. What do we got?
For the
The
Ducks?
University of Oregon.
Ooh, for the
Fighting Mighty
regular
Ducks.
season.
I'm going to say
Re-
10-2.
No bowl games or playoffs included. Regular
10-2.
season.
10-2. I got 10-2.
10-2. Swag.
11-1. They will be in the Big Ten championship game.
Now, it should be noted.
Take note. I know.
Swag nailed it. Swag went 13-0
100%.
last year, and after 2 games, everybody's like, ha ha, look at that idiot. And then
He didn't abandon either.
No, stay the
we did
course.
flip it or stick it halfway through the
Yeah.
year, and you stuck with it.
Stuck it.
Flip it or stick it, by the way, for those new.
Yes, you
As
did.
you stuck it.
Yes.
It's like we get to the midway point of the season, we give our preseason predictions, and we're asking each other, you staying with that prediction or are you jumping off? Come
And
down
then-
on the kick drum.
And then we let it, I keep both records in there so we can make fun of a bad flip, because maybe you might flip because you lose confidence,
Yeah.
but then the team hits their stride. It's like, dude, you should have stayed the course. Why'd you sell the stock?
I give him credit, too, because after Idaho, I think I was like, dude, you going to stick with that prediction?
What the hell? I, too, will go 11-1. I think they lose at Penn State at the end of September, and Washington, if they had them early in the year, I'd be more scared, but depth is the concern at Washington. It's the last game of the regular season.
Yeah.
USC on the road at Autzen, like, good luck, Lincoln Riley.
not
They haven't
scared of
beaten Oregon
Iowa.
in a decade. I am not scared of Iowa and their lack of offense. It might be ugly like Wisconsin, but that one doesn't terrify me. Did we watch Rutgers last night?
I'm circling.
Yeah, you got to go to Piscataway, but did you watch Rutgers last night?
I don't know if they're going to get a competitive game at home all year.
See, 3 games I'm circling are 2 home games.
Indiana, are we a
Indiana
buyer
with
in Indiana?
Mendoza. Let's see what that looks like. I know you have more Jimmies and Joes, and I understand it's a first-year quarterback. Lincoln knows offense, so I'm just kind of curious to see what USC is. Maybe not this week and maybe the next couple weeks. And I will go back to the Washington game. I agree with your depth point. I think that's a major concern.
Early in the season, I would be more scared of playing them like in Seattle in early October.
But if they're healthy and they've hit a little bit of a stride, that's the end of the season. Like, that's the point where if they're healthy going into it in Seattle, if Oregon had a loss at that, I circle that one as well.
Jed Fish will be applying for the Florida job at that point. Let's get to Oregon State, who kicks off their season tomorrow night at 7:30 on ESPN, a Pac-12 throwback game. How do we feel about the Beavs and their opener, their win-loss record prediction? Let's dive into that next. First Year Swag with SportsCenter.
Now, from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Brought to you by Coastal Farm and Ranch. You work hard, and right now, Coastal has Labor Day deals to save you money on workwear, pet care, and more. First on the Fan. 6 days until the Cowboys open the NFL season at the defending Super Bowl champion Eagles. They will not have Micah Parsons on the defense or in uniform, as he was traded to the Green Bay Packers on Thursday for 2 future first-round picks and defensive tackle Kenny Clark. Parsons then agreed to a 4-year, $188 million extension with Green Bay, $136 million of which will be guaranteed. The college football opening weekend continues with action tonight on 910 ESPN. Portland, Georgia Tech visits Colorado. Kickoff at 5 o'clock. Our pregame coverage will start at 4:30. Yellow Jackets, 4.5-point road favorites. Ducks will open up the season right here on the Fan. 1 o'clock kick from Autzen. They're 28-point favorites over Montana State. Our live pregame coverage from Eugene begins at 9 a.m. Beavers are also at home. They'll close out the night against the Cal Bears. 7:30 kick on ESPN. Oregon State a 2-point favorite. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigart from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
Sports Saturday. again.
All right, welcome back in. We've got our record predictions in on Oregon. I'll tweet these out at the end of the show. Have some fun with this.
Okay. What did you go with? 10-2?
11-1.
Yeah.
Swag and I are 11-1. You're 10-2.
I'm a hater. I'm a duck hater.
You're such a hater, man.
I know.
You beaver homer over there. I can't take you seriously. God. Well, the other thing I know about you is that you hate the Beavers, too, according to the people who tweet us. I don't know what your deal is, man. Just hating everybody.
Yeah.
Just hater Sprague over there.
Well, we hate because we never talk about them on the show.
We never talk about Oregon State on the show. We didn't interview Mike Doc Parker for 20 minutes this week. Like
we didn't ask Yogi about him, and he had a great response of what to focus in on Saturday
We're not doing an
game.
Oregon State segment right here talking about them. We didn't do a Malik Murphy thing. We didn't play Trent Bray audio earlier this week, previewing their game against Cal, talking about Cal's freshman quarterback and Malik Murphy. Like, we haven't done any of that, man.
Update.
Yeah, so maybe we'll stop hating at some point.
Somebody did the GIF again, or the meme of Jerry opening Kramer's apartment and was like, "What's going on in there?" And it's Jerry like, "It's Oregon State kickoff, Jerry," and it's all bright orange.
Let me ask you this,
because I like that addition, by the way. That's been a great addition.
That's been solid. It's been really good. I'm curious from your guys' perspective on, so 7:30 tomorrow night, ESPN. It's a fun way to wrap up the weekend, right? You get this game, you get the Cougs playing if you want to watch it against Idaho.
Huskies are at 8.
And you get the Huskies at 8, so it's a fun little Saturday night of wrapping up your opening college football weekend. Where's the confidence meter at for this game? 1 out of 10 scale.
Is
it like low as could be? Are you feeling okay?
It's rapidly risen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's kickoff season, dude.
So just as the kickoffs come in, you're just
6.5, 7.
Okay.
Like I'm
not at 8.5. I don't care.
You're at an 8.5.
I understand that they've got some talent on that team, and I'm not poo-pooing Will come on the kick drum. Come. But I think having the true freshman thing and bring this back for Tuesday to say, man, that was dumb.
God, he's an idiot. Just
a true freshman starting their career on the road, hostile environment, experience at quarterback, coaches calling the defense again, which, again, I'm not pretending to have Mr. Sourcing plugged in guy. I just know that down
Yogi
there,
thought that was a big thing.
They internally, I had somebody reach out, and I won't name names, but they were like, hey, man, what's the read on it? And I was like, well, I don't really cover them, and I don't bother a lot of people down there. And he's like, I heard there's concerns at depth on the defensive line. I'm like, dude, that's been Oregon State forever. They've never had depth.
Yeah.
I know they are very excited about having him call that defense again. I know internally they are jacked. I think the defense will be better. I think they're going to maybe come close to doubling their sack total from a year ago, which was a pitiful 7 and dead last. So, yeah, I will be the optimistic guy for week 1 against Cal at home, former Pac-12 opponent who is now in the Power Conference, even though they have no business being in a Power Conference. Yeah, I go at 8.5.
Okay, and you said 6.5, 7 going into the game?
6.5 and 7, just because, there's so much that's different. So you just want to see it. You
do want to see it.
I do want to see it. I want to see it.
You want to taste that milk before you buy the cow.
Exactly. So now I could quickly, after a couple of drives on both sides.
Mama.
Yeah.
That's your booty.
That's your booty. I could be after the first quarter right there up where he is at 8.5 or whatever.
I mean, think about the start for this dirt. I know you haven't answered it, but just think about the idea that if Oregon State gets that win,
that's a huge one, man.
You should be starting 2-0.
You did that, and Fresno State did not look ready for prime time in their opener.
And it's at home. Like, you view Houston as the swing game, and I don't blame you for that. I view tomorrow night as the swing game. I think you're going to beat Houston. Hot take. I watched the highlights of that game. I didn't see all of it last night, but they played last night. It was
Is it possible to have a tone-setting game and a swing game at the same season?
I think so. They might have both. Maybe Cal's more of a tone-setting game and Houston's your swing game. Yeah, I don't blame you at all for feeling good. The freshman quarterback stuff, some of it, too, will depend on, what's your opinion of Devin Brown, the Ohio State transfer, who played in a bowl game for them 2 years ago, because it wasn't like he beat out nobody. Now, I don't know how good Devin Brown is, because he was at Ohio State for a couple years. He never really played. But that would be one thing that I'm like, okay, he beat out an experienced guy. It wasn't like a bunch of JC transfers or walk-ons or whatever. He beat out an experienced guy who transferred to Cal with the thought of, I'm going to get that starting job. And then they brought in the freshman. It's like, no, you're not. We're going to give it to the freshman. It's hard to get reads on teams in week 1. The other part of it is, I think last night was a good reminder of, what weird thing's going to happen. We had a trick play touchdown, wide receiver pass in the Oklahoma State game. We had South Florida score a touchdown on a fake punt where they snuck their quarterback out on the punt team. We had Minnesota quarterback throw nearly a pick six off the foot of a running back who fell over.
That was a weird pick.
Popped up to Buffalo, and they ran it nearly back for a touchdown. Like, it's just week ones are dumb, and they're
They
stupid,
really are.
and there's just weird things that happen in football. And so
Yep.
it does make it difficult to get a read on it. I wouldn't be quite as high as you guys, but I don't blame you for being optimistic. I'd say 5 or 6. I think it's a total toss-up game going in. Let's get to the win-loss prediction. So they open with Cal tomorrow night. Again, it's 7:30. What do we see? The Fighting Oregon State Beavers win-loss record as this year.
Yeah, The tough thing is, I have no idea. Is App State good anymore?
They shouldn't be,
because it's at App State, and I know that's a journey.
Yeah.
I don't think Dickert's that great a coach, and it's year 1 at Wake.
Robbie Ashford doesn't scare you? Duck legend,
No.
Robbie Ashford?
No, he does not.
That should be an automatic win.
And I think yesterday should show you I don't feel optimistically great about Washington State's season in year 1 for the new coach. I'm gonna go 8-4.
8-4. Okay. 8-4 from Brandon Sprague.
8-4.
Jason Swigard.
I'm going to be a little more optimistic.
9-3.
I'm going to go 9-3.
Yeah, 9-3 is right there.
Okay. Not you, dude. If you go 9-3 this year, you're feeling great.
Now, some of them are going to be
direction.
hold on to your butt games.
Tomorrow night might be a hold on to your butt game.
Tomorrow night might be a hold on to your butt
We're
game.
holding on our butts together.
But I think they have much more of an assembled plan this season than they were allowed to have last season.
Oh,
with
we
all
don't
of
have the hold
change.
on everybody dropped by you.
We got this one.
Right in the butt.
Yeah, the
Here's the situation.
The Bray thing you bring up, I think it's a good point. Like, Oregon State fan I know made this argument when Jonathan left, and you come up with things in your head at times to make it feel better. But one of the things that I always did kind of buy into from the fan base when they said it, and I don't mean to disrespect the coach, and I'm not saying he deserved no credit. Like, the driving force behind those really good Oregon State teams at the end of the Jonathan Smith era was largely their defense. Like, Yogi brought up the USC game against Caleb Williams. I'll never forget that game.
The 10-7 final.
They didn't have a functional offense. They would have won. They would have beaten Washington in that driving rainstorm if they could, not hike the ball over a punter and have a little bit more consistent quarterback play. And so I think there's validity to that. I looked at their schedule, and I'll count you my wins. You ready for this? Fresno State, I counted as a win.
So, Cal, you didn't.
Cal's a toss-up game for me. It's a 50-50 coin flip.
Okay.
Houston, I counted as a win.
I like your confidence there.
Wake Forest, I counted as a win. Lafayette, I counted as a win. Sam Houston, I counted as a win. Tulsa, I counted as a win. And then one of the Washington State games automatically win because you're not losing both of them.
I have no idea if Tulsa's good.
That's 7 right there. So that's where I'm going to go 8-4 because I think Cal...
Yeah.
One of these other ones, maybe you beat the Cougs twice. 9 wins is definitely within the realm of possibility.
It's right within the taking.
You can reach it. I'm gonna be the in between. I'm gonna go 8-4, and I feel like you're fine at 8-4, building momentum back into a conference for next year. It would be a really good year for them.
I don't blame you at all for having a few of those toss-up games. Again, some of these teams I have no read on at all. I don't think they beat Tech or Oregon.
The ones that I brought up, Cal to me is a toss-up game. Beating the same team twice in 3 weeks is interesting. You definitely get one of them, but I just don't know what to make of the
Maybe you go
Cougs.
there and it's the end of the year.
And then your point on
freezing
Appalachian State where you're traveling all the way across the country, and I don't have a feel for that game.
I
You should win it, but
look, we're already against it. It's stupid. I don't need to add this. I disagree a little bit. I do think I don't think it was the driving force of their team. Their run game and offensive line was absolutely stellar in those peak
it's
years.
more about winning with bad quarterback play, which isn't an easy thing to do.
That was their thing, is they
and
never
you have
had
to have an elite
play.
defense. Their defense was outstanding under Trent Bray. So are the Jimmies and Joes the same? Is he able to make up for it? Can he get those Jimmies and Joes again?
They like their pass rush and they love their linebackers.
They
so
do.
we'll see what that translates to.
Let's pick the Huskies and the Cougs win-loss record as they both open their season tomorrow. Some quick thoughts on their games. We'll dive back into the biggest games in the slate of the weekend. Don't forget, we're going to Sprague the line at 9:30, our final preseason. Get your big sponsors in.
I'm picking all the big games.
Ooh, I love it. 503-864-6326. Back after this with Huskies and Cougs next. 105.1 FM The Fan. All right, your fake sponsors for Sprague the Line. Welcome, 503-864-6326. One last dry run for us, dress rehearsal. We've elected to kick our official standings count to next Friday.
Yep.
Where we have the actual NFL.
Span of the NFL season from week 1 to Super Bowl 60.
Previewing the Northwest games, we went over Oregon. We went over Oregon State. The Huskies play tomorrow night against Colorado State. Jay Norvell coming to town. 8 p.m. kick in Seattle. Nicolosi, their quarterback, is returning for another year. Very big expectations for Washington that have kind of grown over the last month, if you will. People picking them to make the playoff. Going to be a 10-2 year. Damon Williams getting a lot of hype and a lot of buzz. They open tomorrow. I guess just general thoughts on what we're looking for tomorrow night from the Huskies, who are playing a lot of young guys in their depth chart. A couple freshmen it sounds like, have won starting jobs, according to Jed Fish. And a win-loss prediction for the Washington Huskies in 2025.
I've been pretty loud about Washington. They're kind of in the same territory as Oregon State from a win-loss perspective for me. They have got some absolute swing games. You alluded to it earlier. I think so much just depends on how healthy they stay. And I know you can say that for literally every team in football, but I think it's especially true for them because the depth hasn't quite been built up.
That's the difference between the big dogs and the middle dogs, is that the top end talent might be able to hang with better teams, but do you have the depth pieces if guys go down that can hang with the top teams?
I'm going to go 9-3.
9-3?
I feel like it's a bit of aggressive, but I think they win their non-conference slate. Sorry, Coug fan. I think they beat Maryland. Rutgers at home.
See, I see Maryland as a trap game because that's road after you get Ohio State at home.
And then go on the road to Maryland.
There's no bye week.
Maryland has been so especially bad under Loxley that I have zero trap game fear on that.
My trap beat USC last year.
Yeah. I mean, okay. All right. Mine would be more at Wisconsin in November, the way Oregon went out.
Yeah, the cold weather, the meat grinder
The
kind
only thing
of game.
about that one is they get a bye after Illinois.
Well, Illinois at home, talk about underrated big game for them, man. That
could be.
That could swing them from 9-3 to 8-4.
Yeah.
And then
that Michigan game has all the makings of a big nooner. If Fox has...
Could be a big nooner. Could be a big nooner. Michigan's hard to get a read on, too, because how good is Bryce Underwood going to be? Yeah. Do they get incompetent quarterback play again, or do they get good freshman quarterback play? And if they do...
But I see 9-3.
Okay. Swag's going 9-3 too?
I think 9-3.
Okay. I went 8-4. I went through the schedule and I thought non-conference undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 3. Rutgers is a guaranteed win at home.
Guaranteed win.
Purdue is a guaranteed win at home.
So that's 6 with Purdue.
You guys think Rutgers is going to be worse than Maryland?
Or is just because it's at home? It's just in Seattle. They're not going to lose to Rutgers at home. Purdue at home and then UCLA.
I just wonder how much Ohio State takes out of them. And then they got to travel cross country.
Let's see what saying is too, right? Like
Very
maybe
true.
we walk away this week and going, now I see why it was a competition. Maybe there's a Keenholz there.
Just lob the ball up to Jeremiah Smith would be my advice to him, because I don't think anybody in the country can stop that guy. So those are like the guarantees for me. And then you got Ohio State, Michigan, Illinois, Oregon in there. I don't think you win multiple of those. I do think Illinois is going to be a pretty solid team this year. On the road at Michigan's a tough one. I don't think you're beating Ohio State in that upset, and I don't think you're beating Oregon at the end of the year. So I'll give you one of those 4. I don't know which one it is. So I went 8-4 for the Huskies. Quickly, we don't need to spend as much time on them.
Throw a dart for me. I don't have any.
Cougs, just throw out a number. I went 5-7 for the Cougs.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe.
My mom worked for Grainger. Do you know that?
Finding ways to reduce risks.
My brother did too. I worked for Grainger.
From the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, it did actually finally happen. The Cowboys did end up trading Micah Parsons, goes to the Green Bay Packers a week before the season starts. They get back 2 future first-round draft picks and Pro Bowl defensive tackle Kenny Clark. Parsons then agreed to a 4-year, $188 million contract extension with Green Bay, $136 million of which will be guaranteed. Week 1 of the college football season continues tonight. Over on 910 ESPN Portland, you will hear Georgia Tech visiting Colorado. That is a 5 o'clock kick. Our pregame coverage starts at 4:30. Yellow Jackets, a 4.5-point favorite. Tomorrow, right here on The Fan, you will hear the Oregon Ducks open up their season hosting Montana State. They are 28-point favorites. Kickoff set for 1 p.m. Our live pregame coverage from Autzen Stadium begins at 9 a.m. Beavers also get to open up the season at home hosting the Cal Bears 7:30 kick on ESPN. Oregon State maintaining a 2-point favorite. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigard from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt missing work? Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The home of the firm. Network.
Hey, let's do this. Final hour. Dirt and Sprague here on Portland Sports Leader, 105.1 FM, The Fan. We just found out what it's like to get played off at the Oscars.
Sorry, that was a little abrupt. That was my fault. I'm very sorry.
Jeff Russ is in there.
Well, we're
bothering Swag in the middle of his show.
Trying to multitask.
And just asking for Coug predictions.
There was a pause, and I thought I missed the sign-off, and you were both looking at me, and I'm like, oh, crap. And, yeah, I panicked. I just panicked. First week jitters.
Somebody said, is that how Swag's going to get you guys to go to break from here on out? It would be actually kind of funny if you did, but just shut up, me. All right? Would you?
I've contemplated that many times.
I loved your Granger Coug pick. Your Granger Coug pick was solid in the middle of a commercial. That's the first time it's ever happened in the history of our show.
Thank you.
Where somebody gave a win-loss prediction in the middle.
Brought to you by.
It was a presenting sponsor
we were getting it done.
Of our Coug pick.
I got to win 6 and 6.
You win 6 and 6.
I have zero confidence in that. I could be a 4-win team. I have no idea.
Yeah, I said I went 5 and 7. No clue.
Does a Cougar fan feel? Is there any Cougar fan that exists that's confident in what they think their team is?
I don't know how.
We had Randy McMichael in Georgia, in Atlanta, who went to Georgia, literally say, I don't know half this roster.
Yeah, for Georgia.
And there's a Cougar fan out there that's going to confidently step up and be like, guys, loaded 7 and 5.
This is how it's going to go. I know the answer. Swag, what do you think the Cougs this year?
I think you're in the 5 and 7 range.
5 and 7 range?
And it could be 3 and 9.
Yeah, I mean sure.
Very well could be.
Are they going to beat North Texas?
I don't know.
They're going to get whooped by Ole Miss.
Do we need to fear the mean green?
Is Virginia any good this year? They play Virginia.
What about Toledo?
Toledo, those MAC teams were
What's that in their Speedo?
They're feisty. They
may not stink.
That's a rocket in the Speedo.
That's a rocket.
La Tech?
I'll tweet out our picks here.
And they're at
the
James
pride
Madison.
Of Terry Bradshaw, Louisiana Tech.
Dirt and Sprague on Twitter. You can go look at our predictions.
So you're going 5 and 7, 5 and 7, 6 and 6.
Yeah, that's where we're at on the
All right.
Cougs.
Yeah.
And then you guys went 9 and 3 on the Huskies. I'm going to tweet these out here.
Okay.
The rest of the slate this weekend, we talked a little bit earlier about the Texas-Ohio State game, which will unquestionably steal the headlines of tomorrow, the winner or the loser, the reaction from the fan base, right? Texas, are they going to panic if they don't win the game? If Arch doesn't play well, what does it mean? I would argue there's a game with more on the line, and in any other normal opening weekend of the college football season, this would be the creme de la creme, if you will, the peak of the sport. Mm-hmm. And I think there's pressure residing on both sides of it, maybe more so for one side than the other, based on how you feel about the conferences and what the rest of the schedule looks like. Brian Kelly has never won an opening game at LSU. Now, he hasn't been there 15 years, so it's not that long of a track record.
2019, I think,
I
was
believe
the last time they won.
They have not won a
first year.
They have not won a first game since 2019. I think this is year 4 for Brian Kelly. They lost to Florida State twice.
He had 2 Jaden years, and he had a Nussmeier season, year 4.
So it's year 4. They lost to Florida State in their opener in a heartbreaking fashion in New Orleans in his first year, last-second field goal. The next year, they played Florida State again in Orlando at a neutral site game. And Florida State, that was the year they were undefeated until the end of the year. And they put it to them, killed them in the opening week. And then last year, they opened in Vegas against USC, and they lost to Lincoln Riley. And at the time, everybody thought, oh, here comes USC. Wow, that's not that bad of a loss. Maybe they're back. And then USC ended up having the season USC did, and it was a disappointing year for LSU. And so he's not going to get fired, but when you go to LSU, you go to LSU to win national championships, man. And their schedule in conference play is brutal. So maybe they can still win the SEC and make it in terms of an automatic bid into the college football playoff. But they got Florida in 2 weeks. They go on the road to Ole Miss. They got South Carolina at home, A&M at home, at Alabama, at Oklahoma. It's a meat grinder down there for them. And this is a big one for LSU tomorrow. And I think in most normal weekends, this would be the easy game of the weekend. We just happen to have a outlier between Texas and Ohio State that we don't normally get.
I certainly understand that Texas-Ohio State is going to be it for everybody. I've been saying this for weeks. This is my biggest game of the weekend because I think Texas is good enough to absorb a loss and still make it. I think Ohio State loaded enough to absorb a loss and still make it. I also think the Big Ten sucks. Clemson is in the ACC, and yeah, you can say the same thing about them. They're talented enough to lose and still be okay because the ACC ain't great either. LSU is interesting. I don't know if they can afford a loss because it's tough to gauge what the rest of that conference is going to be like. And oh, by the way, the guy is already going in with pressure. Sometimes, and I think this guy especially, when you are feeling the stress, right? I thought about this yesterday. I was driving with my youngest. And I had somebody that was being a real idiot on the road, and I'm like, go. And she's in the back seat. She might not be registering the way that I'm thinking about this, but she may translate that behavior to when she drives. Go. My mom was like, road rage, raging roader?
Road warrior.
Sure. She had road rage.
Yeah, she's angry when she's driving.
And so from time to time in my life, I've also had it. You don't think about it in the moment, but you're absorbing that behavior. I just wonder if he loses, like how much of that is going to trickle down into the players feeling more and more of that pressure, seeing how angry he gets.
And you get Florida in 2 weeks, so all of a sudden you're like, dude, that's a must-win game for you if you don't beat Clemson.
I'm trying to think of the coaches in week 1. Can you find me... Is it between Mario and Kelly of biggest pressure cooker week 1?
Probably. I mean, outside of like a game that we don't see coming in an upset where you're like, dude, how did you lose that game?
Because even Norvell, you can say Norvell and Florida State should be in this because it's Florida freaking State. They're not in the top 25, and they're over 2 touchdown underdogs at home.
Yes, they are.
Or at least, at Doak Campbell Stadium. So you can put him in there. I tend to think they're not going to win, but it might rain. So who knows? But I think it's Kelly. And I think if you were to look at the rest of the landscape,
probably
Mario.
And then I think you go tonight, but they're not as high profile. Hugh Freeze is in this category too, I think, at Auburn. So if they lose, but people just don't, they're not on the same platform as LSU and Miami this year. If they lose tonight, I mean, he's going to get fired. I think he's going to get fired no matter what. So I do think the pressure kicks up there with a loss. So I'm with you. That's why that game is so fascinating. And it connects to something I brought up a couple weeks ago where I think the analogy used was, ironically, the Auburn-Baylor game, which is not great. And I know it's number 4 versus number 9. I'm way more excited to be on. Way more is not the right phrase. I am more excited to watch LSU Clemson than I am Texas Ohio State tomorrow. Because of what's it like. I'm not saying the football is going to be better. I'm not saying the 4 quarters of action that you see will be more entertaining. Just because of the reactions that will take place. I think Ohio State and Texas are locks to be in the college football playoff this year. Texas has a pretty manageable schedule. Ohio State has a manageable schedule. When you look at the talent on the rosters, they're the two of the best teams in the sport. Like, whoever loses that game, I think is going to be fine, and they will both be there. LSU went 9-4 last year. They had a Heisman Trophy winning season in Jaden Daniels. He hasn't won an opening game. The rest of the schedule's tough. We'd had an LSU preview, what was that, last week, and they said they're this year's Ohio State. Like, they've gone all in on their roster.
Yep.
That's how they view that team down there. And as much as, and we'll get to our season predictions here in a moment, as much as people are high on Clemson and they're becoming kind of a trendy pick, and, hey, they used the portal this offseason, like they played 3 SEC teams last year and they went 0-3.
Mm-hmm.
They lost to South Carolina at the end of the regular season to finish the regular season 9-3. Now, the program's still in a good spot, but there's a bit of a like, yeah, you're beating up on the ACC. Can you go do it against a team that has equal footing talent-wise as you?
Mm-hmm.
Not just beat SMU in the ACC title game. And so Dabo's not going anywhere, but just in terms of what it means for both sides, the way the rest of the season plays out, the expectations going into the year for both of them.
Yeah.
It's a kind of a big prove-it game for both LSU and Clemson for me.
I agree and I disagree. Like, I agree that it's a prove-it game for a lot of people who don't think as highly maybe of Clemson as me and many others. Clemson went to the portal. They didn't hammer it.
No, it was like 4 guys, 3 or 4. I mean, it was a very small number of guys, but they used it for the first time.
Their line, their quarterback, the receivers, their edge rushers, their linebackers, their secondary, mostly is all just returning talent.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they went 0-3 against the SEC. The difference there to me is that I don't think Clemson losing suddenly creates some false narrative. Clemson has 2 titles in this.
They do.
This Dabo Sweeney era.
They do.
You know what LSU hasn't done in the Brian Kelly era?
They have not won a title.
And every other coach since Nick Saban has won a title. Now,
Saban won one, Les Miles won one, and Ed Orgeron. Every LSU coach this century has won a national championship.
So, like, LSU isn't like the dominant Bama-Georgia force, but they are one that's like every blank amount of years, you put them in a title.
Yeah.
And they haven't gotten that yet. So I think Dabo can lose, and many will say, like, oh, I can't beat the SEC. Maybe. Let's see what the playoff matchups end up doing if they get to the playoff.
Sure.
So I view it differently in the sense of Brian Kelly and LSU being on the proverbial pressure cooker.
Yeah.
You kind of got to win this one. You're over a 3+ field goal underdog. It's going to be quite the road challenge for them. But Clemson at least has 2 trophies in their back. And they're playing in a weaker conference.
They do. There's no doubt about that.
So I look at it more from just one side than I do LSU.
Yeah.
As high as I am on Clemson.
Totally fair.
They can go to the ACC and play. We get to play NC State this weekend.
Well, and I think the thing, too, like, again, it's week 1, right? So who you are in week 1 is not going to be who you are in week 9, 10, 11, 12, and going into the playoff. Teams evolve. They change. Players come and go. They get healthy. They get hurt. Whatever. For me, it's more of like I'm there with you with Clemson. I had them number 2 in the preseason poll, and we'll get to your our season predictions here in the next segment. It's more of a like I want you to prove me right because I feel the same way about Clemson. And not that if they lose the game tomorrow, it means they can't win a national championship, but you are at home in an environment that's going to be in a night game at Clemson. Like, you're the favorite. You're a 4.5-point favorite. There's a bit of just like, I want to see, like, if you're a national title team, I feel like you win that game. I feel like you find a way to win with a 4th-year starting quarterback, all the returning talent. That, like, if I feel a certain way about Clemson and I see them win tomorrow night, that's right. That's that team I believed in. And if they come out and lose on their home field to LSU, again, it doesn't mean anything in the grand schemes. Maybe they go on a run. Oregon almost lost to Idaho, and they went 13-0 last year. Teams change and they evolve. Yeah. But there will be a bit of the, if they lose the game tomorrow night, I go, are they kind of the same play? You know?
Do you have that about Texas? See, I think the hardest thing I have as a sports fan that we talk about this stuff is I react as much as anybody else. Everybody else reacts to it, right? I am always telling myself in football, let's wait till like week 6 in the NFL.
Yeah, you want a bigger sample size.
And in college football, week 1s are very bizarre.
Are you telling me 3 weeks into the year the New Orleans Saints weren't the best team in the NFL last year? Is that what you're trying to tell me right now?
That.
Remember when they were unstoppable?
I do.
Hanging 50 on everybody?
Points a game. By the way, breaking news, Haas Haney broke his foot.
Oh.
So you guys get a backup quarterback.
The Oklahoma State quarterback broke his foot.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's Pete Nakos.
Bring it on, mullet boy.
Boy. Is Oklahoma State going to fire Gundy?
Can we get Mike Gundy on the show? They're going to definitely fire Mike Gundy.
I don't think he does interviews.
They remember they restructured his contract.
Yeah,
he's
in the Harbaugh situation.
He took a pay decrease. Yeah. That's never a good sign. It doesn't usually work out for you unless you start cheating. So if he finds the Connor Stallions, maybe he'll get there. I do have one where this is funny tease coming off of the conversation we're just having.
Sure.
I have one concrete takeaway from last night. Concrete, lock it up.
Okay.
Put the key away.
All right.
Throw it out of the window.
No national champion.
Write it in
night.
Sharpie. That is definitely true.
That's my takeaway.
I have another one, so I'll give you that. We'll make our season predict. Who's going to win the national title this year? Who do we like to bring home the natty? And then we'll spring line coming up at the bottom of the hour. Get your fake sponsors in 503-864-6326. A little more week 1 preview, college football lock from last night. Back after this, 105.1 FM The Fan.
a.m.
All right, welcome back in. 9:19. Shout out to Patrick Harris for sliding on the hood of a NASCAR yesterday. Did you see that? That could have gone horribly awry.
I want to.
Or did he go Dukes of Hazzard?
He
right
went
across
Dukes of Hazzard across the hood of the NASCAR yesterday.
Hold on,
live at a Roto-Rooter.
I want to give him proper credit here. At his age, at our age, trying that,
yeah, dude.
So many things could go wrong.
Yes.
You're not going to get me
to the boys.
The way they portrayed it on radio versus when I saw the video was slightly different.
Did we embellish?
I did not hear the radio segment. I just saw the video.
I listened to it.
Okay.
I was glad he did it. It takes stones to do this stuff.
Yes, it does. You could go knee into the side, flip over, the shorts might grab, you could tumble.
But how they portrayed the video was he did it cleanly over, whereas like in the video he gets about halfway and the hands have to like.
I don't think he had the right material. I don't think he had the right short sliding material.
Well, to his credit, the hood hadn't been waxed.
I was going to say,
let's throw some wax on.
That to be
but
wax
he
on,
did
wax
it,
off.
And I want to give him a round of applause.
All right. You kind of poo-pooed it there. That was kind of a build-up to tear you down.
Well, the video, I was waiting for him to go clean Dukes of Hazzard over, and his hands had to like get him to the rest of the way. But he did it. He got up there. I give him a lot of credit for that.
We'll make our Sprague and Line picks here coming up in about 10 minutes. Fake sponsors welcome. 503-864-6326 and our national title picks. Before we get to that.
My wife will not stop texting me San Diego stuff, and it's...
Oh, yeah, she's in San Diego this weekend. Yeah. Daddy's home alone with the kiddos?
Well, it's just fine. My kids are old enough. It's like here's some
right
dolphins.
now
What are
during
you
the
doing?
show. Like she knows when you're on the air.
She posted something on Instagram. I thought
She
about
just
responding.
doesn't
Can you buy that
care.
for me? There was a sick Notre Dame throwback retro find. Notre Dame jacket. I was like, dude, that's badass. Well, what's wrong?
What were you going to say?
Did I want that Notre Dame jacket? That's
no,
what I
you
was
were saying
gonna
something
say.
else before I interrupted this. I'm sorry.
All right, it's getting weird. Oh, hey, that'd be wonderful. Rudy.
You're tough here. I don't know. You're such an Oregon fan. I don't know if you wear other team.
I would wear other team gear.
You only wear it if you visit it, though.
Yeah, for the most part, Rudy stands alone. Okay, it's Rudy, man. Anywhoosies, I had a Stone Cold Concrete Lock takeaway of the night last night. And I know we want to let things play out, and it's week one, and don't overreact.
Stone Cold
Lock of the night last night, and that is, ladies and gentlemen, it is official once again. I made the argument last year when people said, how is Oregon going to survive the gauntlet that is the Big Ten? And my response was, what gauntlet? Dude, the bottom half of the Big Ten is horrible, and that will never change. It is viewed on the same footing as the SEC, and they've won back-to-back national championships. I feel no conference pride in proclaiming that. I would have if it happened to the Pac-12. I feel no Big Ten conference pride affiliation. The bottom portion of the SEC dog walks the bottom portion of the Big Ten, and I hate to admit it because my team's in that conference, but Wisconsin is Wisconsin. Their offense is terrible. Minnesota is always going to be Minnesota. Rutgers doesn't intimidate or scare anybody. Iowa can't play offense. Michigan State will probably be bad again.
Can't play defense.
Maryland's terrible. Northwestern's terrible. UCLA's going to be terrible. Purdue's terrible.
Yeah.
Like watching some of that last night, we had the conversation about Tier 2 of the Big Ten, which would be what? Nebraska, Washington, USC, Iowa. Illinois maybe for some is in that category. Can any of those teams jump into Tier 1? And that is a valid conversation. Once you get to Tier 3, dude, it is not intimidating in the least to play any of those teams.
I think Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon are Tier 1. Where Michigan falls, I don't know yet.
They're an in-between still. Give them that credit.
Tier 2 really is just Indiana and Illinois, isn't it?
That's it for you. You don't put Washington, USC, Nebraska in there?
Washington 9-3 is a Tier 2.
Yeah, if they go 9-3 this year, they're Tier 2.
If there's a 9-3 SEC team, you're doing that Tier 2 stuff for them.
For sure you are.
But I also could look at this and say Mississippi State, Kentucky,
Mississippi State, yeah. I would rather.
Let's wait on Vanderbilt before we proclaim they're going to be great.
Sure, I'd rather play any of the teams that I listed.
Arkansas.
Than,
that's. I mean, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Neutral site. You're picking these bottom feeders against those bottom feeders.
Yes.
Yeah.
Am I more scared to go to Kentucky or am I more scared to go play at Northwestern? It's not even close. It's not. I mean, I'm not saying that Oregon loses to Kentucky. I think they beat, but I'm saying like if that's a non-conference game,
how close were
that's not even a debate.
I know, but like, what do we?
I know.
This is what I hate about the sport.
You're
is
splitting
like,
hairs of turds. I get it. I just watching last night.
You're celebrating their 3-9 versus your 3-9.
I just watching last night. That was one of the bigger takeaways of the night for me. Nebraska damn near lost to Cincinnati, who we have no clue how good Cincinnati's going to be, and they came up with a lot lot of hope and promise.
Nebraska's
they won the game.
Got 7-5 written all over.
They did what they needed to do. We'll see how the rest of the year goes. But everybody else in the Big Ten last night was just.
But we kind of knew that.
I don't.
I'm not saying we didn't, but
did anybody surprise you with how bad they were? Because I wasn't.
I'm
shocked.
clueless on all the
Rutgers
hype
almost losing
around.
to Ohio.
That's Peter Navarro.
That's dude.
Parker Navarro.
Sure.
Peter Parker.
Peter Parker.
Spider-Man.
Peter.
Doesn't matter.
Peter. A Peter. They almost got Petered by Parker. But he Navarro'd.
Is that the Ohio coach? Who is Peter Parker?
Parker Navarro is the
Parker people?
quarterback of Ohio.
Okay.
Bobcats.
Yes.
Yeah.
Take your word for it. I saw Callie McManus is back at Rutgers. Remember that name
Yes,
pronunciation
I
from
do.
last year?
Yes.
How did they beat the Huskies, dude?
You making that name up?
No, I remember talking about it last year when Washington played there and then lost. Remember when they lost to Rutgers? And then we joked about how do you pronounce this guy's last name?
Yeah.
It's like, and I think we decided Callie McManus was the pronunciation guy.
It's the sport in general. We can say this. 70% of that sport kind of sucks.
It's just really bad.
But
dude.
we watch a lot of it.
Yeah, I mean, those games last night, like you're not, and I'll be curious. Mark my words, hot take of the day. Maybe I'll get to this as Sprague in the line. Michigan State's going to be in a dogfight today.
Ooh.
Mark my words. Say this for Tuesday, which we'll probably forget.
Then you're not very optimistic of
Grab the
Michigan
the
State.
schedule.
Western Michigan's coming to town tonight.
Tell me about Western Michigan.
I know nothing about. I couldn't tell you anything about Ohio. I couldn't tell you anything about
the Broncos.
That is the Broncos, the Western
Broncos.
Michigan Broncos. They're
Go
getting
Park Rose.
21 and a half. Anyways, Big Ten sucks. There's my takeaway. Concrete lock. National championship pick.
I'm going to go Texas Clemson final.
Texas Clemson final.
Yeah, and I'm going to
Okay.
go Texas. I hate to be the guy going Texas. I really like
I thought you were
Clemson.
going to pick Clemson. What happened?
No, I had Clemson in the title game.
title game?
Yeah,
All right,
I think
all
Clemson
right.
makes a real stride.
Okay.
Gets back to the title. Dude, the horses at Texas. It's not even just Arch. Like, Arch can be fine.
You're
and they
buying the
can win.
hype, huh?
I am. I think the defense is going to be insane.
I love how we say that, too, as if they haven't been in the Final Four the last 2 seasons and they've done nothing.
I'm not claiming
you know,
it's not giving you a hot take.
No, I'm saying in terms of buying the hype as if they've been a bad program. Like, they've been one of the 4 best programs in the sport.
It's such a trendy pick that saying it makes me feel blech.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I don't.
believe
So
it.
you want to be right? You want to have the right take?
You do.
So I'll take Clemson and Texas in the championship.
Okay.
Texas narrowly winning, and we have to ask ourselves, Steve Sarkisian elite?
Ooh.
And is Texas back?
If you win a national championship, 1, yes, and B, yes.
I already think he kind of is.
I mean, he is. And if yes, you're back.
There's a really good
They're
story.
already back. They've been in the Final Four the
I
last
know.
2 years.
There's a good story on The Athletic about them. Like, I know it's Texas. Hold it. I get it. The comments, the money they spend. He really laid out just truly where they were when he got there. And they lost their way quite a bit in that program.
They did, man.
They
It was
lost
not
their way.
good. Tom Herman was not good.
Either was Charlie Strong.
Charlie Strong, not good.
Yeah, that was bad.
Charlie Strong, by the way, funny note on him, I saw he's now coaching with the Bucks, and they signed Teddy Bridgewater. And Charlie Strong was famously Teddy Bridgewater's college coach. He was at Miami or Florida, one of the two, and then took the Louisville job, and he brought Teddy Bridgewater with him. And Teddy had a great joke where he was like, man, he was doing bed checks the other night, and I felt like an 18-year-old freshman again, making sure everybody's in the room. Charlie Strong walking around. He's an assistant for the Bucks. Swag, national title pick?
I too will go with Texas. I think it will be an all SEC champ. They are.
That's what we need.
They're grumpy not having won a title. It's a birthright. It means more.
It does mean more.
I
We have
think
to
they
admit
will
that.
beat LSU in the championship
Whoa!
So
game.
you like
I
LSU
think
this weekend?
LSU might have. I think they might be that 9-3 team because their schedule is brutal. But I think they will continue to improve all
So you
season.
think they get in as an at-large or an SEC champ at 9-3? But you can. I mean, Clemson was 9-3 and then won the conference title.
I could see him.
So you think maybe Clemson lost in non-conference and then 2 SEC losses, but still get into the
Something
SEC title
like
game?
that.
Okay.
But then they get hot at the end of the season. They start to develop some of the younger talent. The defense figures it out.
Feeling hot,
And and because I mean this is all assuming their key players stay healthy. If they have Garrett
Sure, he gets
Nussmeier
everybody,
all
yeah.
season long,
Yeah.
then it'll be a SEC showdown.
God, that would be miserable if that happened.
Sorry.
Not that ours are any better because you have two, Texas and Clemson, which are two teams in the South, and I'm going to go two teams in the South, too. I have Georgia beating Clemson in the national championship game. That is my season prediction for the title. There you go. Your natty picks, our record picks. Everybody feeling – I didn't want to go conference by conference. That takes too long.
You don't want to pick – who's going to win the Big 12?
Do you guys have any dark horses, like in conferences that you like? LSU would be, I don't know if dark horse is right for LSU, but Texas is certainly the trendy pick. Bama's a trendy pick.
Yeah.
So LSU's a bit of that.
I don't see anybody
Does
outside.
Penn State win the Big Ten? You said you think Oregon wins the Big Ten, right? Or
I think Oregon's in
game?
the Big Ten championship game.
Okay.
We'll see what happens. I don't see anybody outside of Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon winning the Big Ten.
Okay. Everybody got Clemson winning the ACC?
Yeah, I have Clemson winning the ACC against Miami.
Yeah.
I just don't trust Mario. And I don't know how good anybody else is. I mean, really good in terms of talent and then the ability to sustain for a full season.
Okay.
The Big 12, I have no clue about.
Kansas State was my pick. I don't know how I'm feeling about that now.
Iowa State. We'll see what happens.
They're still alive. I know.
Iowa State, Iowa this weekend. Or is that week 2? I think it's week 2. I think Iowa State gets a week off.
I got Utah, Arizona State in the Big 12 title.
I'm very curious about Utah now that they've moved on from the Cam Rising era.
Will they get 2 teams in the playoff, the Big 12?
I think they could.
No. No.
How many does the ACC get?
2. Clemson and Miami, I think both make it. I think Miami is this year's SMU, where they don't get punished for losing the conference title game.
I could see the Big 10 only getting 3 this year.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What does the SEC get, 17?
Basically. Rest. Yeah, there's a group of 5 in there. But the rest. Yeah.
But I could see the Big 12 getting 2.
Okay. All right. Well, it's going to be fun, man. It all kicked off, technically last week, but now we're here. And the games are, we got a full slate, and it continues tonight. We'll have a couple thoughts on that here at the end of the show. Let's Sprague the Line, our final preseason edition of Sprague the Line. Who do we like in the college football world this weekend? Your fake sponsors are welcome. 503-864-6326. We'll Sprague the Line next. First, here's us with a update.
Now, from the George McCoy and Warren Allen Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on the Fan Sports Network, 105.1 FM and 1080 AM.
First on the Fan, before you go just printing those Minnesota Lynx WNBA title T-shirts, the Seattle Storm on the road in Minnesota, coming back from 21 down last night to give them just their second home loss of the season. Skylar Diggins with 23, leading the way as the Storm trying to get closer to clinching a playoff spot.
Quite a comeback for the old Seattle Storm. How about this one? There is a insect called the Scorpio fly, and basically it attracts females to mate with by getting food. However, they're not very good hunters, so some males will pretend to be female in order for another male fly to bring them food.
Oh, okay.
And also,
we got another one.
We have as many neck bones as giraffes. Make that make sense.
I don't really have much here. I just wanted to give a hearty good luck to everybody. I know you're going to be there. Swag wishes he could be there. Dude, Friday Night Lights, man.
It's back, baby.
Friday Night Lights. It will always hit different. Anybody who played high school football will tell you that. I love hearing former NFL players say that that's like their fondest memories.
Yeah.
You're like, man, I got to experience that. So to all the kids listening who are getting ready to play a little high school football tonight, good luck. Happy Friday Night Lights, everybody.
I'll be at one.
There you go. More WNBA, insect, and high school football stories in 30 minutes. Jason Swigart from the George McCoy at Warren Allen Sports Desk. Hurt missing work. Insurance companies acting like jerks. Don't call your mom. Call George McCoy at warrenallen.com.
The Fan is live on YouTube and Twitch. a.m.
Spraguing the line. Spraguing the line.
Spraguing the line.
Spraguing the line.
Spraguing the line.
Spraguing the line. Preseason edition.
All righty, let's see what we got here today, boys.
Ooh, okay.
Spraguing the line brought to you by Football's Back. Enough said.
That sums it up.
Sprague Line brought to you by bacon going well with everything. I still can't choke down a bacon wrapped Sprague pick.
I think it would taste good.
I think it would too. I'd eat it.
I'd dip bacon in non-flavored Greek yogurt, and I think it would taste good.
I made wings yesterday for football kickoff.
You motivated me. I kind of want to do wings today.
Dude, I was pounding those
Did you
things.
sauce them or did you dry rub?
I'm always a sauce guy. Sauce wing guy, 100% of the time.
What'd you sauce them up with?
I have there's like a vinegary barbecue sauce that I love. I can't remember the name of the company off the top of my head. That's delightful.
Okay.
And then there was like a Carolina Caliente, a little bit more of a spice to it. And I did 2 different bowls, one with a little bit of heat, one with more of kind of a sweet and savory.
How many packs of wings do you buy at once? Is it 12? Is it 2?
Yeah, it's
and
always
I
2.
still feel like 2 isn't enough.
It's never enough. Spring Line brought to you by our director of Lost and Found, my wife. That's from P1, former Bella fan Jessica.
Hello, Jessica.
Are we winning them over?
Let's go, Jessica.
Are we winning them over?
Hell yeah.
Sprague and Line brought to you by the award-winning Odyssey app, randomly rewinding and pausing, still more reliable than a Sprague pick. No comment.
I've had some stuff lately where I'm like, what happened there?
No comment.
How did that go back?
Sprague and Line brought to you by Bert and Craig, the new robot version of the morning show coming soon after Odyssey refuses to meet the guy's ridiculous contract demands. You sign new deals, man.
Hey, I'm Bert. That's Craig. Hello. Ha, ha, ha,
ha, ha. Go Ducks. Go Beavers. Sprague and Line brought to you by touching yourself with sandpaper, still more enjoyable than following Sprague's betting advice.
Guys, I know I'm bad, but damn.
Dude.
Nah, think about that one for a minute.
This one's just Dirt's Picks, brought to you by GasX. The only thing worse than Dirt's Picks is splitting hairs on a turd.
You know, you are kind of increasing your profile of bad picks. You need to change.
How am I increasing my profile of bad
Dirty
picks?
Pull off to a bad start. You went 1-2 last weekend.
Hey, I put my you-know-what's on the table going into the season.
Line last year. I think you need to turn around. You need to turn around.
Well, it's going to start tonight. First pick of the day. Western Michigan getting 21 points on the road against the crappy bottom feeder Michigan State Spartans in the bad half of the Big Ten. I think last night was an indicator that those teams aren't very good. Michigan State might win another game or two this year, but you're giving me 21? I don't care what Western Michigan has. I'm taking the 21. Give me the Broncos plus 21 in East Lansing tonight.
A decent question I get asked. There's a lot of questions people ask about the show. One is like, how often do you really piss him off? And I go, we disagree on sports takes once in a while, and it sounds argumentative, but not really. And I go, the one thing I would say that I think absolutely gets stuck in his craw and really pisses him off, it's this segment. He takes a lot of pride in having a winning record when he's 3-0 and you're not.
I also do no research.
I love that. You swing from
I just
the
go,
hip.
my gut. I trust my gut.
Shoot from the hip.
I don't need research. I don't need your information. I got it, dude.
So it's this segment probably the thing that gets him the most fired up. I'm going to start with mine. I got all dogs this weekend. You guys know I'm on Clemson to get to the Natty. I like Clemson a lot. I think they're loaded. I have to, at a principle, take LSU plus the 4. I think week 1, close games, close contests. LSU could absolutely win this game. This feels like a field goal game. I'm going to take LSU plus the 4.
Okay.
We'll start off with the biggest game of the weekend, Texas at Ohio State. Right now, A&A, it's a pick 'em. The money has come in on Texas. I just picked them as the national championship. I think Ryan Day, for whatever reason, couldn't seem to figure out if he had a true number 1 quarterback. Maybe he was, playing possum with us or not. But I'm going to take Texas on the road to win.
I would too.
Okay. Next up for me is a game that I've kind of circled just in terms of intrigue for this year. Team who's looking for a bounce-back year from a year 2 head coach, and a team who's looking from a bounce-back year from one of the worst seasons in the history of the program. Florida State is hosting Alabama this weekend in Tallahassee. One of the things I will do research on for this segment is what the weather is going to be.
Yeah, it might be stormy.
Sounds like it's going to be a downpour in Tallahassee this weekend. Bad weather. Alabama is without their starting running back who got hurt in camp.
Lineman.
Their number 1 defensive lineman just got hurt, and they're hoping he's back soon, but he will not be playing this weekend. Do you know who Florida State's new offensive coordinator is?
Didn't he he stole the UCF coach,
Gus Malzahn. Gus Malzahn is
he
their
still
new head
good?
coach. He is averaging like 27 points per game in his career against Alabama. He actually has a decent track record against Alabama as a head coach over the years.
Okay.
He beat them 3 times in the Iron Bowl. They added Castellanos, who can run around and be a problem tackling. I don't think they're going to pull off the upset. In bad weather, can Alabama run the football? They're starting running backs out, and I got a mobile quarterback on the other side, a team who is desperate and has nothing to lose after 2-10. I think they keep it within 2 touchdowns. I'm going to take Florida State plus 14.5.
Yeah, that thing has climbed, by the way, like 1.5 points in the last few days.
Yes, it has.
I'm going to go to a home team getting points. Actually, I have 2 home teams getting points that I'm going to give you for my final 2. I think there's going to be a coach in this game that's more concerned about what time his tea time is on Saturday because he plays today. I will be taking Baylor plus the 2.5. I think they outright win against Auburn. I don't trust Auburn. I don't really trust Baylor all that much, but there's a little buzz in Waco about what Aranda's going to be this year. Certainly a prove-it year for him. They're getting home points. I'll take the home dog.
They love their quarterback, Robertson.
Yeah.
Portland State lost at home to Tarleton State 42-0.
Don't do this.
They are on the road at BYU.
What's the line in that game?
Minus 44.
44. Is that the biggest line of the weekend?
No.
The Big Wood's still in here? Yes,
Wagner's
the Big Wood is still in there. I'm laying 44.
Okay. Wagner's 46-point dog at Kansas. Western Illinois is a 47.5-point dog at Illinois.
It's not a principle sometimes.
The true freshman starting quarterback at BYU setting history, his number is 47.
Yes.
Yeah.
They win by 47.
Can Illinois score 47 points? Should they be a 47.5-point favorite? Alabama A&M is a 46.5-point dog at Arkansas, which... Why would you not take that?
Yeah, it's a lot of points.
And Long Island University.
LIU,
45.5 at Florida.
Okay.
Those seem to be, according to my top-notch research, the biggest dogs of the weekend.
Okay, I'm going to follow on a trend that you had there. I like Florida State as a home dog. I'm going to go with another home dog in a standalone game on Sunday where I don't trust their coach if they're playing a run-of-the-mill, you should win that game program. But in a big game, there's a little bit of trust there. One team's breaking in a quarterback who's never started a game before.
Oh, you're going to do it?
And I'm going to do it. I think Mario's got a great track record early in, other than when he lost to Bo Nix as a freshman, so I should retract that. Anywho's, last year against Florida, they dominated them on the road. Like, Miami's going to lose 2 games this year they have no business losing. We all know that's who Mario Cristobal will be. I think that place is going to be packed. I think the atmosphere is going to be great. It's Catholics versus convicts revisited. Notre Dame, I think, is the better team, and I think we'll probably end up having the better year. But just in an opener with a quarterback making his first start in that environment, Carson Beck with some experience, Miami's getting points. I'm going to take him. Give me Miami plus 2.5 Sunday night.
I really want to take Western Illinois 47. Just out of like that many points.
Do it.
I also would take Oregon State minus the 2, but for the segment's sake, I will take another home dog. I'm going to take dogs this weekend. I don't know how good this team's going to be. They're kind of a wild card, but their coach is certainly loud enough to wonder if they're going to live up to the hype. I believe now. Caden Salter named the starting quarterback. Georgia Tech is getting a lot of buzz. I know they're a difficult team to prepare for, but 4.5 at home?
Yeah.
I'll roll the dice with Colorado at home. 4.5-point underdogs against Georgia Tech.
All right.
I will jump on the Beaver bandwagon this weekend. I think it's even more important than proving themselves to anybody else outside of the world. The Beavers need to prove to themselves internally, for their fans, for Corvallis, that last year was last year. It was a weird, strange year with things that you could never have predicted come up in a college football program. And this year they want to establish things. They want to establish identity. Trent Bray back in charge of the defense will make a difference. So I will lay those 2 points at home.
Okay. If they don't win, you know who to send your hate mail to. Our picks are as follows. I'm on Western Michigan tonight, plus 21 in East Lansing against Michigan State. Like the Seminoles getting 14.5 at home against Alabama, and I like Miami at home plus 2.5 Sunday night against Notre Dame. Sprague likes LSU plus the 4 tomorrow night in the battle of the real Death Valley and who are the real Tigers.
Do you know, by the way, I forgot to bring that up. I read about this. Do you know who is the real Death Valley?
I do not know.
Who would you guess?
Was the first Death Valley?
Yep. Who copied who?
I'm going to vote Clemson first.
You would be correct.
Am I? Yeah. How big of a difference is it, like years-wise?
I think it's like 15 to 20 years in
That's
that
a
range.
decent-sized gap,
They
then.
played, and then LSU called themselves Death Valley because they beat Clemson.
Who was the first Tigers?
The Tigers, I think, originated the Death Valley thing in the 40s.
No, but who had their first name? Like, have they both always been the Tigers?
Yeah, they both are. Death
or
Valley
did another
and Tigers.
Tiger? Did one of them jump on the Tiger bandwagon later?
I'm going to give
LSU a
Clemson
bunch
Death
of biters,
Valley.
huh?
I'm going to give LSU the Tigers because we got an Edo. Go Tiger.
And we have an actual tiger there. I don't know if Clemson has an actual tiger. They got a tiger statue. I don't know if they have an actual tiger.
Real quick, what is the line? Belichick is a home dog.
Home dog?
That looked appealing too.
Yeah, Monday night. I just don't know. I have no clue. They
I
have
have
like
no
80
clue.
new players.
I have no feel about TCU.
There's people that are kind of high on them. Their schedule's supposed to be easy, but yeah, no clue.
So you like LSU +4, Baylor +2.5 tonight against Auburn at home, and then Colorado also tonight +4.5 against Georgia Tech. And
Yeah.
Swag likes Texas money line in the big one tomorrow on the big nooner. BYU -44 against the Fighting Vikings of Portland State, and Oregon State tomorrow night -2 against Cal. There you go. Sprague in the line every Friday. Next week it will count for realsies, and we'll have NFL games to gamble on. Sprague in the line brought to you by Littering, the only option for disposing of a Sprague betting slip, along with his watermelon rind. Let's wrap it up with the nostalgia. Hit you in the feels. Close it up next. 105.1 FM The Fan.
inspired.
There you go. Fist pumping your way into the weekend every single Friday for the first time an official Football Friday. Happy Football Friday.
It's so long.
Today's show was very deep and very long. Like, yeah. Let's end on an emotional note. What are the odds in your household? I will be watching, getting set up to start the pregame show. It'll be right before we begin the show at down in Eugene tomorrow. So I'll have it on the iPad, watching as everything's good. I'll probably get down there around 8 tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I'll be watching the final hour. What are the odds in your household? The tears are shed for the final Lee Corso college game day.
I could see myself getting a little watery,
misty.
but not really shedding.
Whenever
What are the odds on the miss? Yes, minus 110? Are we talking yes? Is it a plus money?
I think yes is minus money.
It's minus.
Minus money?
Minus 115, 120.
If you are absolutely planning to wake up to
Because
watch
Herb Street's going to break down at some point.
he almost did.
He can't talk.
He did a get-up
yes.
interview this morning, and he looked like he was breaking down. This is
Go watch the video tribute thing they did to him, too. Like, his whole thing was he said, like, 8 words because he couldn't get anything out.
I'm assuming Fowler might show up at some point because
they did it forever.
I don't know. Which game does he have?
They are calling LSU.
So that's in the
Clemson.
evening. So,
but Herb Street's there, and he can jump on that PJ. Herb Street. Remember when Herb Street did the Oregon game last year?
That was crazy.
And then they had to do a segment with him driving to because he couldn't call the game because it was on NBC.
You know, you can think whatever you think, but that dude was iconic for the sport. I could see myself getting a little choked up.
Dude, I'm like a minus 800 yes. I'm for sure going to tear up, tomorrow when this happens. Corso's incredible, man. I know the last couple of years haven't been great, but he has been the face of college football, you could argue, for 30-plus years.
Yeah, he has.
And going to miss that, man. Going to miss having him on game day and putting the headgear on, and that tradition will probably die with him.
Does McAfee do it and they call it the Corso headgear pick?
I don't think that he does.
No, I hope they do something else. Try to, but don't do that.
I think McAfee already kind of does. He does like a wrestling thing to get the crowd going. Like that's his shtick, which is always fun.
And
that was Corso's thing, and
I think it dies with him. I think this is it.
You can't replicate.
Talk about not wanting to follow like the great Saban kind of coach. Nobody
Sure.
wants to follow this and be the next headgear pick guy. I wouldn't want that job.
I think you can make a tribute to him for it, and I think McAfee could do just as good a job with it. But yeah, to your point, probably don't do it.
Well, I'm going to cry tomorrow. It'll be fun. Hey, college football's back, everybody. Let's hope our teams don't crap the bed this weekend.
Well,
don't let me down. Get the job done. Don't forget, no show Monday. We'll talk to you Tuesday. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'll be down in Eugene getting ready for game 1 of the season. That will do it for us, folks. Thanks for being a part of our Friday. Talk to you Tuesday at 6 a.m. The Firm of Harrison Meringue is next. Listening to 105.1 FM.